Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the ESL Challenger League Season 47 playoffs, where we are going to hop right into it. Thanks for bearing with us on this very massive delay, but we should be getting into the action in just a moment here, John. We got a match between Nouns and NRG, and we got the whole playoffs to look at, so let's go ahead and take a peek at the bracket. I'm Darth Mike. This is JRT. We'll be bringing you all the action this week, or much of the action at the very least. Over in the upper bracket, starting off, Nouns NRG, Party Astronauts Elevate, waiting in round 2, M80 Wildcard, and down below, Ladcard Patia Mythic Boss. My question for you, John, is do you think any of those lower bracket teams pose a threat to make a dark horse run?
Honestly, maybe Boss. I think that's the only one where I'm thinking perhaps they can come up, but they've had such a struggle lately, and you know, getting a stable starting five. Yeah, they really are, unfortunately. Mythic could be interesting. I mean, they've had some surprise runs lately. It's just that once they face off against tougher competition, they kind of struggle, as you would expect, given the nature of their team. So, yeah, I think we're looking at mostly the upper bracket being the most threatening teams, I should say, to move on to that grand final.
And yeah, and if you were a betting man, let's say perhaps a 1x betting man, who would you predict to win this one? John, it's time for our Talent 1x bet predictions here. And I think we both had the same idea. We just both chose different random numbers. But 72.5% confidence from me. Very specific there. That's exactly how confident I am in M80. Look, M80 look really strong. I think their biggest threat probably Wildcard. I know that's probably just lazy on my part because they're the second seed, but a Wildcard have been a little up or down. The thing is, when Wildcard's good, man, they look damn good.
Yeah, I think my 15%, I guess, doubting that they won't be able to pick it up is largely Nouns. I think Nouns have been that crazy team that can upset NRG, that can upset M80. They already did it once, right? And for NRG twice, they've upset them, and maybe they'll do it again tonight, right?
Now, but here's a really interesting veto we've got going, John. Just a quick note, because we are going to be flying into game here as soon as possible, so we'll get this over and done with. So Inferno, that's what you'd expect from NRG. It's what they always pick against Nouns here. What's interesting is Nouns pick and ban. Nouns banned Dust 2, which neither team has really played much of it. They both like one official since it came back into the pool.
Yeah.
Anubis picked for Nouns. Neither of these teams has played Anubis in the last 3 months. The last time, so NRG actually played quite a bit of it back in March and then before, but they've undergone some changes. You know, there have been some shifts in their roster and what they're trying to do. Nouns have played it like once this year, I think.
Once, yeah.
What the hell are they doing here, John?
I don't know. I mean, my guess is that Adren has been prepping them on the side for this specific reason, like to get a surprise pick into the ESL Challenger League playoffs. And I mean, we'll have to see what they bring to the table. Honestly, like you said, the fact is NRG has more experience, at least their core does, playing on Anubis than Nouns does at all. And it's not a map that kind of plays to their strengths. So I'm not entirely sure why they decided to go for it, but maybe they'll surprise us once we get there. My biggest concern for Nouns in this veto is that Inferno has been very, very tough for them, and it's a map that NRG has consistently defeated them on, and it's kind of one where I look at and say, okay, Nouns are going to lose Inferno, they have to win the next two. In this case, now it's Anubis. You're like, whoa, what's going to happen?
Well, our player to watch for this one is going to be OC, but I'm going to go back to the veto because there's another really interesting aspect of it to me, which is that even if you wanted to do this punish pick on towards Anubis, thinking that, you know, Walker's going to be uncomfortable with it, they're not going to expect it. Why veto Dust 2? Why not take the Inferno out of play? Because, yes, okay, neither of these teams is well drilled on Dust 2. Maybe they're more comfortable on Dust 2. But you're the kind of firepower team on Nouns where the uncomfortable map for both squads, especially when it's D2, might just be the advantage for your team. So, it's an interesting veto. It's really interesting. I'm kind of... we may get a chance to speak to some of the players, and I'm really curious to walk through the thought process on this one.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it is rare in ECL that a veto catches me this off guard these days.
I am the same. Yeah, honestly, I expected Inferno to be banned, and Dust 2 is a great one to float. In fact, the one time Nouns played it, they looked great. They won 13-8. I don't know why they wouldn't want to play that map because of how they play Counter-Strike. Anyway, Breeze is going to get the opener onto Junior. Upgrades himself to some dualies. Got a 5v4 in favor of NRG, and now they're going to move their way towards this A site. Nouns have adjusted themselves. They got 3 players in wait here. 1 over in pit, 1 on default, and 1 at Moto. Now the smokes are going to come in for NRG. We invested quite heavily into the util on pistol round, which I'd like to see. 4 players going down lane. CJ the King trying to be the king of pit right now. He readjusts himself to mini pit and he's flashed out and destroyed by Hex. Rush tries to support, but it is just a complete demolition derby in favor of NRG. George desperately spamming away and does manage to connect onto OC. But yeah, that's Plant. And now a little bit of a tough situation for George.
Don't give him a chance. Don't give him a way back in. No kit. This really probably shouldn't be possible. And I think he probably knows it as well. Settling up for some exits, maybe just trying to get some extra money for this. I mean, if they're going for a force buy. Whatever it may be, it doesn't seem like he's going to give this much of a chance. So it will be the pistol round locking in early for NRG. And this is... We'll see. But you set it up nicely in the pregame here, John. This is a map that we are expecting to be a bastion of strength for NRG. This is a map that has not always gone well for Nouns in general, and particularly against this team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the last 2 times NRG has played them, they won 13-5. It was a battering the last time they faced off against them on this map. And then Mirage was an absolute brawl that went Nouns' way, not once, but twice in both BO3s. But looking back on Inferno in the previous BO3 that they went up against Nouns on, they also won that one much closer, 13-11. But this is just a map that Nouns haven't really been able to figure out. So... that's again why, like I mentioned, I'm concerned about that Anubis pick. Hopefully for Nouns' sake, they know what they're doing there, running into that map. Anyway, Falco's going to move up Banana. Nade's going to be tossed forward. George probably going to eat that. He does, down to 54 HP, falling back towards CT spawn here. He is the lone anchor on the site, and Nouns are gambling that the hit is going to go towards A. George, smoke out. Ready to toss that forward.
Do they respect it? They do? Okay, this is interesting. One of the things that's very interesting to see about the changes to the economy and the changes to the weaponry in this latest update, Inferno to me is the map where the weakened CT Molotovs potentially have the most impact, right? You think about how you dominate that banana fight with just a blanket of Molotovs to get that initial control. It's just not as effective anymore.
It kind of feels like the nerf to the Incendiary was done specifically for Inferno, right? Like every other map, it wasn't really a problem, but Banana on Inferno, that's where it changes things for sure.
That's a fascinating one. I feel like at Dallas, it maybe wasn't... Hold on, here's the hit. Here's Rush activating. Here's Rush knocking down 3 targets. Rush might have just done this. CJ backing him up, and CJ and Rush, a wombo combo. Rush cleaning up for the 4-piece. He was dealt a full hand, and he played it to perfection from behind the truck.
Yeah, that was really nicely done from Rush. Jumps up to 243 ADR. Of course, we're only 2 rounds in, but still, that was an impressive little show that he put on. He's been great ever since joining up with Nouns, and he's making plays like this on a regular basis. It's great to see him kind of sailing along with this squad. And since he... Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, John.
No, I was just going to say, since he joined, like, the fragging across the team has been so equal, and everyone is contributing in such a significant way. It feels like they've gelled more as a team.
Yeah, and I think that's what they were seeking, right? More experience. He came in to replace Glacia, a player who, while he's got oodles of young, raw talent, has maybe shown that he's not got that wield it. Backing away here is Cards. This is pressure back on. We could just be trading ecos early on here as they've lost the banana fight. And these techies cause problems. The problem is there's not a lot of utility for the next step. This is their one smoke and they're throwing it as a fake. Or... are they? Yeah, okay,
yeah,
fake, but nothing behind it just now. CT smoke goes down. You see the shift up from Nouns, double up towards long, and Junior's already starting to hedge his bets back around. Didn't want to give up the audio cue, but now he's kind of got the read. So once again, this is kind of feeling like NRG might be rotating back into the stack site. This is what happened on Eco, John.
Yeah. NRG. 3 players into the apartments. 2 moving into lane. Or should be moving to lane shortly. Nouns are lined up for this. Junior, flashed out, goes behind cover. OC, a beautiful one, dig. CJ gets a good trade and a follow-up. Then the third. 3-piece secured, and Junior chips in for one on the tail end of it. Walco, last one standing, and no longer. Nouns hold off that push from NRG.
So let's talk about what's going wrong for NRG here, because it's now happened in 2 rounds. NRG is getting scared off of Banana very, easily. They're getting scared off of the B take. And what they're doing is they're then shifting fully into an A commit. They're not sort of hedging their bets. Obviously, that round's an eco. It's a little more understandable. They were, as soon as they threw the cross smoke, they were trying to fake it. They just got red. But the previous round was more of an issue. They had 5 players ready to take B. There was 1 guy on banana, or on the B site proper with a 5-7. He had 1 smoke. He threw that 1 smoke, and it was enough for NRG to say, all right, we're not going B. Everyone full commit A. With no information on the A site, no information on player positioning other than 1 smoke, and that's where they got melted by a stacked site. Nouns read their tendencies. Kind of feels like this is some anti-stratting. I mean, they've certainly had enough brushes up against NRG's Inferno to know how this one goes, but it's a little concerning early on for NRG.
Definitely. Junior finds one, then the follow-up. I mean, it's just Glocks coming through here for NRG, but, I mean, they're dispatching them very handily. The only automatic left by his lonesome. This one's a write-off for NRG. Nouns going to take a 3-1 lead, but, I mean, this one's only started. Once NRG get the rifles out once more, I think we're going to see a different team. And I think you're right. Nouns have probably been waiting for this opportunity, probably looking over their demos, seeing how NRG has played against them on Inferno and trying to adapt to that.
This is a really interesting playoff opportunity for Nouns, I would say. Because Nouns are in kind of an interesting position within North America, right? Where they have really seen their star wane. If we think back to last year, using IEM Dallas as a great example, they were the team that had a Dallas spot. They were the team that was making the RMR. That was a threat to go to the major. That was, 1 map away. They were this team that was always qualifying to events like Challengers, to moving on, to having those opportunities. And now it's M80. They've been pushed out. Even, at times wildcard. The competition is a lot more fierce, and so for Nouns, it's about reclaiming. And I'd imagine a spot in Pro League would be a massive boon to doing so.
Oh yeah, no question. And I think they're very much teed up to get a chance at that spot and get to that grand final, which is all it's going to take, right? You get to the grand final, you're into Pro League. You don't have to win it anymore because there's fewer seasons.
It's a big change.
Yeah,
it's a big change. This banana aggression has certainly not worked out for Nouns. So now NRG, the read will not be complicated. Go wherever you want. Enforce. And it should be alright. I say that though, Rush.
You never know.
Rush has been pretty sharp so far. What are those stickers? He's got the NIP stickers up. And I think, is there an E-League sticker on there?
There might be. He's been around.
True.
All right. Well, Breeze gonna tack another one on his belt. That's Junior gone.
The A aggression.
Yeah.
This is interesting. They're still committing it towards B despite the fact that they've just killed the A push. This is very interesting. They're once again doing this the hard way. By design, PK in there, but Hex will get the kill that they need. There are no blunders this time. Maybe one more casualty than was necessary, but this is these early rounds are, even with that win, still a little concerning, just because of how little fluidity we seem to have between the sites. Right? It seems like they're making decisions about which site they're going to take, not based on where their own kills have come in necessarily.
Yeah, they're letting the utility of Nouns dictate the flow instead of the frags that they're getting. I agree with you. And it's pushing them back. And again here, like, they're not really trying to challenge. The smoke is tossed. It's their own smoke this time. Then a nade comes through, and that's going to do a decent amount of damage to Wildco and Breeze. Another one sails past everyone. But, NRG, slow and steady. Want to be moving up banana here. Wildco, tip of the spear. Flashbang comes out, and he just dodges it. So, I mean, as it stands right now, NRG are just kind of slowing down the pace of play. 4 players up at banana, 1 lurking around towards alt mid, but Nouns are heavily leaning towards A. So again, this is something that we've seen for pretty much the majority of this first half so far from them.
Yeah, they put a ton of faith in George to be able to stall things out, and to be fair, he's done a great job of it, redirecting NRG. That smoke almost looks like it's a little off, but it's going to work in their favor because, once again, NRG want to test A. So they're headed in towards the stack site. There's 4 players here. Molotov down early. Oh, no. loss of awareness there from Automatic of where the AWP could push back in. Didn't expect it. And that's a really punishing kill to come through. Now things have fallen apart, but NRG feel like they're committed, and Walco and OC have no more utility to do this wherever they move. So they're going to need a hero play. It's going to have to come from one of these two. The wraparound from OC could be effective. 20 seconds. Oh, he might actually just try and slip this over towards B. Nope. Panic on the time. You're absolutely right. Walco's in trouble now. The balcony player will have one dead to rights, and there's the trade. Not even required. CJ stayed alive. Yeah. This, you know what this is reminding me of? I'm going to take it back years at this point. This is reminding me of Walco's problems as an IGL back in like the RBG days, early EG days. RBG Carpe Diem into the early EG. You remember we used to be very critical of their Inferno.
Yes.
Because of how telegraphed their site takes were. Because of how little fluidity they had in the mid round. Which it hasn't been an issue in a while for Walco-led teams. So I'm a little surprised to see it right now. I mean, again, for context, NRG bringing in Automatic, bringing in Walco, you know, these were changes. They haven't had a ton of time together, but this does feel less mobile than we're used to seeing lately, and it is reminiscent of some of the problems that some Walco-led teams had years prior.
Yeah, and oh wow, Breeze is going to get an opener, but then a follow-up as well. They just can't take him down. Tech 9 frags come through, smoke as well. Op is trying to rotate for Junior. This should at least secure a bomb plant. It absolutely will. Incendiary is going to fly in. Some spam damage through the smoke onto Breeze. That's unconfirmed. Nouns have tons of utils. So much. I mean, there's only one smoke for NRG, but Nouns could literally pepper the entire bomb site with the utility, which will play to their advantage here. That's why they're taking their time. And of course, they have the defuse kits as well. Time ticking away on the bomb. About 15 seconds left on it.
No nade in the dark. I was going to say that could just deal with Breeze. Smoke up. Breeze gone. Traded out by the USP. They're going to have to stick it. They have to stick it. Here's the commit. Spam's not on. CJ is a little better on it. There's time aplenty for the defuse. Effective retake. They didn't even use half their nades in that one.
Yeah, no, that's surprising. They had the ability to. They just chose not to, although there was a decent amount that was sailing on through. So good retake coming through from Nouns. And this is starting to go from bad to worse for NRG. And one thing we criticized them, maybe not in that round, going back to the RBG days, Mike, like you said, it's when that first kind of attempt doesn't work out, then the mid-round was very, very poor coming through from Wildcode-led teams. And I feel like we're kind of getting that again, which is so strange, because even the last two times we saw them here on Inferno, it was fine. Everything was going well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little perplexed. It's very concerning early on. Admittedly, there's plenty of time to regain still in this, and I think that's why the timeout's coming through right now. Dap's presumably getting his input on this Inferno, or maybe even just giving Walco time to sort of catch his thoughts a little bit. Because this should absolutely still be recoverable. But to your point, John, we talk about Nouns as a momentum-based team so often. Junior as often a momentum-based offer.
Yes.
It's real nice when you're on Nouns and you look at your tab and it's Junior's 8-2, you know, 7 rounds into the game. That ain't bad.
I mean, in his earlier BO3 today, he had 37 frags, 113.6 ADR. Automatics deleted by the nade from George. Oh, goodness me. That's problematic. And now the nades continue to sail on forward. The Incendiary's burning away. Walco's trapped in a corner. He's trying to fight his way out. Gets a nice headshot onto Carson, so he's managed to secure an escape route. But, man, that first frag that came through creates so many problems, and we'll see how NRG adjusts here and adapt.
Nouns may have played this a little too far, though. I think they got eager getting those nades, right? They wanted the full banana control. They had the util for it, but Walco. Nice mechanical outplay. Now causes problems. Pressure on towards A. Junior's the up to it. He's been good. This A-hold's been really damn good. Rush, CJ, Junior. I mean, their numbers tell the story, but it has been difficult to get past this approach. And actually rotating off, it seems like NRG's not going to try and test them again. Instead, they'll head towards George, and it's the right read. It's the light sight. This time, NRG reading the positioning, finding the moves, even with Breeze's kill. That should send them hurtling on in here. It's going to be George under a lot of pressure. George gone down and out. The bomb down. This could just be a save. This could just be an abandon all hope, bail on out type of round for Nouns.
No, honestly, that's more of the NRG that we're used to seeing here on Inferno, at least recently, where they take their time, you know, they rotate back and forth between bomb sites, they don't panic push just because they've been pushed off another one, and they keep Nouns guessing, honestly. And a good frag coming through from Breeze, even though he falls afterwards and gets traded, it's still a great job from him to attract the attention in his direction, and then NRG walk into that B site and find the only defender in George. So they're going to get a third on the board for themselves. Money has still been built up decently, I want to say, for Nouns, but George, Carson, and Rush have a lot less than I expected. That's why, of course, these two guns are going to be really important.
Yeah, a couple messy rounds there at the end. And this is an important one for NRG. It's the timeout came in, they sort of settled in. Feels like a lot more comfortable off the rip after it. To your point, John, you know, the mid-rounding just immediately looking better than it was in the first few. Maybe that's all they needed. Maybe they just needed to get those initial nerves of playoffs or whatever it is out of the way. Because again, you know, we were talking about Nouns trying to reclaim that spot. This is an NRG team that was built with aspirations to compete with the Liquids and the Complexities of the world, right? That was the idea.
Yeah.
Certainly the M80s, and hasn't quite been there just yet.
And, I mean, there was a little bit of concern for NRG towards the tail end of this season, right? They only won one of six maps between M80, Take Flight, and Elevate. They went 0-2 against M80, 0-2 against Elevate, and 1-1 tie, splitting that series against Take Flight. And that's not a team that you would expect NRG to have problems with, and along with the fact that they're not competing well against the upper echelon of the league.
No, you're right. That is massively concerning. And for some teams, you know, you might discount online play if they'd already secured a playoff spot if they felt like that, but this is not a team that can afford to take any official lightly. Yeah. At this point, this is a team that, you know, there may be some very established names on this squad. Automatic, obviously, you know, a major winner alongside Rush once upon a time, but it's been a long time since they've tasted those heights. It's been a long time since they've been able to take any match lightly.
I mean, they were competing for #1 seed until the last week of the season, basically, and then they just fell off and finished in 6th, which shocked me a little bit when I went back to look at it. And Nouns obviously finishing #3 with a very strong finish and just barely missing out on that top 2 seed.
How does Breeze do this? So they do this again. They gain the mid space, they get past the brackets, and they leave Breeze on his own. Now they're going to try and take it towards B. That's a nice trade. That's not bad at all. If they can deal with George without huge casualties, that would be nice. But George will get the punish. Now time is short. The spam, not quite good there. And here's the strike, but it means that there's no one on the side. And Junior's just won this for his team. Junior's just won it on the clock. As soon as Breeze gets that kill, that's actually so unfortunate on the timing because it tells Junior there's only one guy here. He has to be planting. All I have to do is take his hands off the bomb. That's a great read and react from Junior. That is fantastic situational awareness. That is a very selfless play as well. Throwing himself at it, throwing himself at the bomb to make the winning play.
Yeah, that's just phenomenal. But we can't forget about George's contribution either, right? He gets 2 when a 1 seemed like a best-case scenario, honestly. But yeah, you're right. Junior just throwing himself out there, sacrificing his body for the cause, and burning enough time off the clock that NRG couldn't even get the bomb planted. Timeout called by Nouns despite all of that. I mean, they are losing a lot of bodies, and their money situation is kind of poor. So we'll see how they play around that. It's also the same story for NRG, though, so it balances out, at least in this round. And looking around, you see Junior and George, they got the M4s. Rush thinking about what he's going to invest into. It's going to be a FAMAS with, I'd imagine, a decent amount of util as well. And after all the juggling is done, we end up with 3 rifles. Make that 4. I always think of the FAMAS as not really a rifle sometimes, but it is. And an MP9 for George. The other side, yeah. Man.
Okay, here we go. A little bit of, well, less weaponry. Why not get some banana aggression? George, this has been an issue for Nouns at times. They like to take that aggressive banana control. They maybe overcommit after getting the first. But it is just the SMG lost, so could probably excuse them this one.
On the other side. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say now they settle in. I had nothing good, John. Take it away. Take it away, John.
All right. Well, Alco has the MAC-10, and I was going to say that NRG also had a couple of SMGs, but now they picked up another rifle off the ground, so they've got to the 2 AKs, the AWP, and the MAC-10 left. I imagine Walco's going to be the first one to go in here with that MAC-10 because just so much firepower on the move, not to mention you get jumping frags with it. Carson, the only one here, trying to anchor down the site. He throws a flash and a smoke, and that's actually really good because it allows him to get into the site proper. They won't expect this. He should be able to get one. There it is, but only one. Fantastic trade from Hex. That is the B site taken, and maybe even a save called by Nouns because they don't really have the money to justify going back into this one.
I think the util's going to be too tempting.
Maybe.
2 mollies, a smoke, and a nade, and an HE. You've actually seen CJ just leave his Molotov behind, so that tells me they have a plan. Right? They're sorting out who's got which nade. Yeah, they're definitely going for this. And I think they're right to do so. There's no counter nades on NRG. It's still a strong position to be in. Obviously, time's going to be short. CJ's got the pitch. Keep an eye on that. Oh, Hex makes a soldier play there. Makes a huge play. Had to be done. They're running out of time. They're running out of clock. And at this point, yeah, Rush has already known
CJ's
what's going
dead.
on. CJ's going to be committed in towards this bomb. That's likely going to take his life. Certainly as Osi finds the final kill. They're all going up in smoke, and he knows it. NRG onto 4.
Yeah, and I mean, Rush only walks away with a FAMAS, and the money is just catastrophic for Nouns going into this one.
I
That's
will
tough.
say, though,
yeah,
that's a big Hex play, right?
Yes.
Molotov at his feet. They should know exactly where he's swinging. He still manages to get that first bullet and as soon as that comes through. But in getting that kill, it's the tipping point, right? If he goes down for free, suddenly defense falls apart. So big moment, big play from Hex.
Absolutely. No, Hex doing a great job, honestly, in that round. Not only there, but getting into the site itself. NRG need more of that. And looking at Nouns, I mean, they realized the situation. Money was so bad that they just decided to go for the forest buy. It's going to be 357s, the MP9 and the FAMAS, and they've got 3 players on this A site. NRG's doing what they love to do here on Inferno. Let's go back and forth, attract attention to each bomb site, keep Nouns guessing as they go for their final destination, which, I mean, could be the A site at this point, but there's still 1 minute and 17 seconds left on the clock. It depends on what they see as they move out of apartments here.
How do you maximize these flashes from Rush? Right? He's got 2 flashes and an HE, but he's tucked into the corner. And it's not like CJ can go around off of them, so it kind of feels like... I don't know. I don't know that he's actually going to get an opportunity to use this utility based on the way they're set up. It's an interesting one. Junior floating away based off just a little pressure exerted by automatic. Now the hit comes out. This time they found the light sight. Still Rush connects on 1. He's gone. Player fake into the corner. Should not be able to get away with this one. And indeed, OC will chase up the all-important kill. At this point, with automatic on the line. Does falter, but that might just give Carson the ability to get out of here with a gun.
Which is honestly what he should do. 22 HP. He's got a Molotov, or incendiary, I should say.
I like the idea. That would have killed him if he had an insta. But a little late, and Carson's gonna have to back away.
So, 5th round picked up by NRG. Recovering nicely after a very difficult start. Was 5-2 in favor of Nouns at one point. NRG have picked up 3 of the last 4. Now they're going to look for a 6th into this next round. And in fact, Nouns' economy is also going to be very bad into this one. They pretty much spent everything they had in the previous round, and lost bonus I think is only going to be at 2,400.
That sounds about right.
No, not yeah, no, actually it was 1,400, I think. Anyway. Or am I crazy? Like, I only saw 2,000 go into the bank account there. Anyway, whatever. It wasn't much. It wasn't much. 1,900 maybe.
Yes, 1,900. That is the math. That's how this checks out.
There we go. We figured it out eventually. We got there, guys. We got there.
Never do math. Especially don't do math at 10:30 at night.
Yes. It's later than it should be. 12th round of play, though. You can do that, man. Molly's going to be flying out here. George going to be in a little bit of trouble, you'd imagine. Yeah, he has to get the heck out of here. Oh, now he gets naded down to 19. He'll be cleaned up by the AK bullets of Walco, who sees the player go sandbags. Doesn't matter if he's blinded or not. He had that lineup every single day of the week. Now Rush is left by his lonesome here on the B side. He sees his teammates falling on the ticker. Rush gets nothing. Nada. Zero. Zilch. B side's taken. Round is over. And so is the half as we head to a break.
All right, back into the action, and this one wound up 6-all. Two very different NRGs in that first half, right?
Yep.
It was pre-pause and post-pause, and pre-pause, we were very concerned because as much as Nouns were playing well, NRG were looking a little meek. Post-pause, okay, we got a game on our hands here, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully they'll continue rolling along. Of course, they switch over to the CT side, so it's an entirely different setup coming through from NRG and mentality, of course, compared to their T side. Speaking of setups, they got an interesting one going here. Heavy lean onto B. Usually it's the opposite in the pistol rounds, but NRG have a read on the way Nouns like to play it, I guess. You see the smoke is being lined up here. Hext. Dooley's out. Molotov, in fact. There's a smoke as well. Hex gonna be getting that one. There it is. Walco also connected onto one as well. And Hex continues to fire away. They can't trade him out. Great setup here from NRG. A perfect read onto what Nouns wanted to do. And I mean, you see Carson and Junior are trying to find openings. In fact, it's Junior trying to come in on a flank here towards CT.
Oh, he's caught the timing. He's caught the timing. This could be a problem. Carson just has to stay alive. Carson just has to stay alive, but he knows the pinch is going to come in. And let's be honest, it's Carson. So the demons are whispering in his ears, and OC is ready. It's like, okay, what could be the one thing that gets us this time? What could be the one thing that causes a problem? It's literally if someone comes through CT. So nice awareness from OC. Gets the 1 kill to make sure this doesn't somehow come apart. And now Carson has been hurt every step of the way.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to fake it, but Breeze was right there, hearing absolutely everything. He's like, Carson, what on earth are you trying to do? I got you.
So that's set up in towards sandbags. The reason that works so well is Hex won't goes bait, right? When the molly comes through, they hear him ticking. They want to chase and hunt. And you know Nouns, as soon as they think there's an easy frag, they're going to chase that hard. And Hex is just there to punish. Beautifully drawn up.
And without that bomb plant, Nouns are not going to invest in this follow-up round. Just the Glocks. No money spent at all, so they should be just target practice for NRG into this round. Already OC finding George. Rush is trying to boost himself up into the balcony, and he gets that, but he's going to be greeted by a few players, and there it is. Breeze finding his dome. I think a little bit.
Did he have a foot? Oh, all right, Carson.
Okay.
All right, it's not going to change the round, but it's kind of nice. Hold on. Glock clip?
No, definitely not. I mean, I was going to say there's no chance. No armor and a Glock only? Ugh.
An interesting thing to note, we talked about Junior as a momentum player in the first half. When we talked about that, he was 8-2 after round 7.
Yeah.
He's 8-9, John.
Yeah. 0-7 since we talked about him.
That's not the way that's supposed to go.
No.
I said nice things about you, Junior. What happened?
Yeah, like I said, this isn't necessarily his best map. Usually he does decent work on the CT side, but on that T side, it's just so hard to justify an off purchase sometimes because you need that mobility and there's just so many rotations happening that you kind of have your feet glued to the floor with the op sometimes with that movement speed. So you want to have the rifles instead. We'll see if Junior can pick up his game here and get his team back into this one. Obviously, NRG are a little more limited in terms of their buy-up now because they didn't reinvest yet. So this is a chance for Nouns to strike with the AKs. Glauco, who's stuck in this Molotov, has to try and escape, and so much damage taken from him and onto Automatic because he was taking spam from the AKs and the Galil. So they just fall back here, but B has become an extremely soft site as a result if Nouns end up there.
They instantly trade guns, and it's actually interesting because it sets up Walco further forward with a rifle, Automatic setting up utility if it's required. I kind of want to see them threaten this B setup now. They're going to. So here we go.
That's even better.
Walco with the ear of the info, down to such low health. It's going to be a flash for him to peek. Here's the flash, there's the peek. Damage, kills. Oh, he did get the one. He did get the one actually on the fadeaway. Here we go. Okay. If they catch this lurk, Rush looking the wrong way. The timing is brutal for Rush. And now they're trying to bail back the other direction, but Breeze has already figured it out. Already secured himself in the boiler. It's a good crossfire setup. Now these footsteps tip them off, but CJ snaps off one half of it. Here's the spray and Breeze.
Wow.
So he blows, so it goes.
That's beautiful from Breeze. Spraying them down, making Nouns just struggle. They're trying to go and get into that A site. That is unbelievable. He made it look like an eco, but Nouns had guns out in that round. Let's not forget. Well done from Breeze. OC, of course, helping, distracting attention. That's just with the FAMAS of all guns. Unbelievable. Of course, he's going to upgrade off of that. He'll have the AK into this round. And off we go. NRG rebuffing Nouns completely on their T side. And Nouns are back to pistols only. A little bit of an upgrade there. And then you have a couple of pieces of util available to them as well. In fact, 3. Carson, peering around with that deagle. He can be very lethal with it if you give him the opportunities. And I think OC realizing, okay, they're on pistols. I don't need to give them anything for free. They throw their util and they back off into the A site and go for a more passive defense, which is the right call in this circumstance. Carson, peering around. Oh, spots a player. Automatic gets the info as well, though. So now he's just going to toss a flashbang, try and peek around, use his pit player as well. But still, no frags in, and we're almost 50 seconds into the round.
NRG have surprisingly little util as well, considering what they came in with. There's another Molotov out. Still a minute, man. There's still a minute. They've got a couple smokes. One of them is even on this site. The hands of OC. But in the out-and-out gun battle, you do have to favor them here, and it seems like that's about to happen up short.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised to see Nouns go this slow. It's very strange. Automatic, gonna get the headshot onto Carson. And yeah, they are going to be funneled into a very lethal crossfire here onto A. CJ actually gets the headshot. They have to clear Breeze, and they absolutely do not. Breeze pulls out the pistol, try and finish off the last, and that will exactly happen as he drew it up. There you go, 10-6 in favor of NRG.
Nice. Back-to-back 3 pieces from Breeze. This dude's having a monster map. 18-8, the total scoreline. But it's really those impact holds, right? In the first half, he was lurking, trying to just sneak a kill or two on the rotation to really cause problems. This half, he is the backstop. He is the backbone of this site holding. Nouns cannot deal with it. Even when it's looking good on A, even when they're getting the setups, the initial kills, until they've killed Breeze,
it's
the final boss is not done.
It's weird to me, like, how effective Breeze has been since joining up on NRG, because we were thinking he was in the twilight of his career for so long, like during those EG days, and then all of a sudden we've got Breeze popping off again and turning the years back, it seems. Welcome. He's going to have to turn back, speaking of which.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what the magic was.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but in the early CS2 days, when everyone was paying attention to the ladder in Premier, when everyone was still playing Premier before it became infested and overrun with cheaters, you know who was like top of the board? Breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Through the whole first, he was playing a ton of games. That was when you knew he was coming back. He was just playing a million games of Counter-Strike, getting a feel for the new game, and it's cool to see. At the end of the day, folks, sometimes you got to get that spark reignited and get a new environment. Maybe that was enough.
Absolutely. I mean, getting away from EG, it seems, was enough for a lot of players. You know, just to feel better on their new rosters. I think we have many examples of that. Junior, George, of course, Breeze, even in this server right now, Automatic, Walco, Hex. It's just like almost all of an EG team combined here on NRG. Anyway, Hex, going to go down to 18 HP. George putting the pressure on, and this could be a round that Nouns are able to convert. Walco is the key piece. What a flashbang thrown by OC. Walco gets 2 off of it. Carson finally trades him out, and they will get this bomb planted at the very least, which might be one of their first plants here in this half.
I think Walco got caught by the resolution there. He didn't even see the player jumping in towards the pool. It's either that or he just full tunnel visioned.
Yeah.
But either way, still doing enough damage to make this a possibility. Won't go. Let's see if they come in after it. Util sailing in. They've got good util for this. Damage in towards the pool. Here comes that AG. Junior has to swing. Not going to be able to do it. His feet
there
on
it is.
fire. It all falls from Carson. Back of the corner. And
wow.
done.
Do they have time? They do, yeah.
They've got plenty of time on it. Swap out for the man with the kit. I say plenty. They have just enough.
Yeah, that was close. Down to the wire.
Just enough, and that's good. Nicely done on the retake. That's okay. When we were talking about that Nouns round, and it was like, okay, they've got the util to go for this. That's what it was supposed to look like, but Hex thwarted it this time. Nada coming through from the Nouns side as they've looked flat since the half swap, and NRG are looking dialed in.
Yeah, it's a really good comparison, actually. It's the way the retake in that situation should look, and I mean, beautifully done, and even the timing was perfect, right down to the defusal coming through. NRG, perfect so far here in this second half. Nouns off of the bomb plant. It's not as much money anymore, $600, but it's still more than enough to get them 3 AKs and 2 Galils, along with that loss bonus being pitched in. Walco. Nade's going to sail through here towards Banana and actually don't do as much damage as they possibly could have. Junior and George somehow just dodged most of it, and they're going to fall back here and give up the space towards B. And one thing we haven't seen pretty much at all from, oh my goodness, OC is going to get one through the wall onto Rush. What I was going to say was we haven't seen any quick plays from Nouns at all. And that nade, the communication's off too. Why are you walking into the nade when your teammate's popping it?
He's trying to catch the timing off on the pop. He's trying to catch them, but it's a huge risk, right? It sacrifices a lot of his health. I think that was the intention, though, was just completely catch them off guard on the timing. The unfortunate thing is, they're not holding that close.
Yeah.
Right? NRG, with the advantage, they're very comfortable to hold back towards the site to give up the initial bracket fight, and now they're going to re-clear off the back of OC strong op.
Yeah.
This is nicely done. I don't even mind the play call. I think Nouns are a little desperate right now, so they're trying to go for the slightly unexpected. And actually, I said they want to play back. Breeze goes searching. Hold on. There's a chance here. Oh, see,
I
finds
thought
the
he missed
one. The
both.
trade is there. George sacrificing himself with a low HP. That means pressure on for automatic.
CJ.
Solo player. He's got one. Only the one. Retake City, John.
Oh, yeah. Hex and Walco. Gonna have to try and get in here. It looks like Walco might want to peek before the bomb is planted. He does, but there's no one really to fight with, at least not yet. Carson waiting in pit. Hex coming on the other end, so they got a pincer attack on. Maybe Hex can find Junior here. We'll see. He's waiting for the smoke fade to come through because they've got the time, they've got the kits. They also have an incendiary available. That's already going to be top pit. Perfect spot for it. There's Walco clearing out Carson. Junior, the last one standing. He has a nade with him. Can he get one? No, he gets nothing. Actually, he does get one from the grave, but it doesn't matter. Great play from Hex and Walco, combining again for a phenomenal retake. They have kept Nouns completely blanked off the score sheet here in this second half.
And, I mean, we've already given kudos to the Breeze. Obviously, Hatch has had his moments as well, but kudos to Walco. That was looking like a tough start to the map. And I've harped on this many a time, where a lot of times when the overall macro is struggling, Walco's individual form can take a serious hit. But he didn't let it rattle him. He settled in. And he's had a really monstrous game. Second half in particular, he's been lights out.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that Walco has continued to build and grow as he's evolved as an IGL, as his mechanical game. And it's great to see him be able to contribute in difficult situations and help his team kind of dig themselves out of a hole. 60 HP left for OC after that nade connects on him. NRG playing very passively at this point, waiting for Nouns to come to them. And again, I'm surprised that Nouns aren't trying to go for some quick plays, which is where they thrive the most, especially Carson. Like, it feels like he's on a leash right now, and he really wants to try and take those fights, but he hasn't been that tip of the spear that he usually is.
OC can't find the first. Too quick a swing. So he'll have to back away. Still, they now know it's a tip-off. Hey, there's an op. Are we going to respect it? Are we going to fear it? Walco's just waiting. Give OC one shot and then pull the pin on this smoke.
Nouns. Bleeding time off the clock. 3 smokes left. But there's another one to slow them down even further. I love the pacing on the utility. Look at NRG. They still have a ton of utility available to them with only 35 seconds left on the clock.
I mean, smoke here, though.
Yeah.
Now it's can wait this. It's going to be so risky, and I'm actually surprised NRG aren't bringing the stack over. Give the nade to try and punish. Molly goes down. Molly goes down. Okay,
Dead.
They don't need a Molly. Who needs it? Walco will do it all himself. Beautiful hold once again coming through from NRG. That's 10 rounds in a row, John, to close Inferno.
That's unbelievable, honestly. And they shut out Nouns completely in that second half. Even though Nouns threatened a couple of times with the bomb plants, the retakes were to perfection each time. Walco contributing on that last one so very well. I think he was involved and implicated in the previous one too. So just beautiful stuff from NRG, and defeating Nouns more cleanly than I probably expected on Inferno, especially the way that one started. You already talked about it a little bit, but the fact that Walco was able to recover and get out of that rut so quickly is the reason why NRG recovered to this level.
Yeah, absolutely is. And I mean, the players went whisper quiet over on the outside. But a lot of it was just, honestly, looking at the first 9, you know, where you wound up with a 6-3 lead for Nouns. It wasn't even so much that Nouns were doing anything particularly brilliant. It was that NRG seemed like they were struggling. And as soon as that pause came in, as soon as they seemed to resolve their own issues, just Nouns were not quite prepared. So this one goes to NRG. And now, John, we get a really big question mark. This is where Nouns are going to be very much questioned if this doesn't work out, because we're headed to Anubis, a map that neither of these teams has played in an official in the last 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, like, we do know that Nouns played it this year. NRG, I don't know if they have.
No, they played it a lot this year.
Did they play it this year? Sorry, excuse me.
3 months
You're
ago.
right.
In
3 months ago,
March.
they played it. So we've got that, which is interesting. And I feel like NRG, like we said, have more reps going onto this map than Nouns do, who have avoided it for the most part almost entirely. So weird to see it jump back into the pool here, and especially weirder because Inferno was left in instead of Floating Dust 2, which, like we both agree, Mike, would have been the better choice for them given their style of play. But perhaps they're cooking up something. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm so curious. I'm really so curious about what we're going to have on Anubis. This is going to be the biggest of question marks here. Nouns are either going to look brilliant or they're going to look a little silly after this one. We'll find out what it's going to be when we come back from this break. What's up, folks? You want to look at our faces a little bit more? Well, you're going to get to. We're going to be hopping into map 2 here in just a moment, and it's going to be an interesting one. We've got Anubis. This is a Joker pick coming through from Nouns. This is completely unexpected. They have not played it in the last 3 months. I think they've played it once this year. So it is a dramatic departure from expectation. And it's got to have caught NRG off guard. There's no way that they've been prepped on this, that for Nouns specifically, but they left it through the first round of vetoes. So obviously it's something they have been working on, and it's a map that NRG haven't played since the additions of Walco and Automatic.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You put it perfectly, honestly. They have 0 officials with Walco IGLing this current squad on Anubis. The last time they played it was with Def as, or DAP, excuse me, as the IGL, right? And that, yeah, sorry, I get the two M80 NRG crossed up sometimes, the two D names. Anyway, but yeah, they were on a losing streak on that map, so they lost 4 in a row, and then once Walco and Automatic were at it, they said, you know what, let's not play this anymore. Let's remove it from the pool. So it all depends, right? Because Nouns have been planning for this. There's no question in my mind that they have been thinking about this, and long term, when they saw that this is the team they were going to go up against, said, okay, they don't play Anubis, they haven't done it at all, maybe we can catch them off guard with a pick here, and I'm sure they did. The question is that enough to find success on a map that you really haven't played at all?
Yeah, that's a big question. That is a super big question. And the question as well for NRG is how much have they been cooking on this, right? Because you can understand removing it from your immediate bans. Not really sure how many officials Automatics played on the map necessarily. You know, he's been out for a little bit. You know, not really sure how comfortable Walco is. You're working on other things within your pool and developing them. Understandable. But if they're letting it slip through the vetoes, they've got to be ready to play it, and I just don't. I don't know. This does not gut check feel like a Nouns map, and it's very interesting to me again that they were banning Dust 2, considering that gut check feels like a map that should be a Nouns map. So I have so many questions about this veto. Maybe Nouns are going to come out with the most brilliant game plan we've ever seen, John, blow me out of the water and totally impress and take all the doubts away from our minds. But that's kind of what I need to see. I need to see very distinct, clear game plans, because that's what I want to know. What's the idea? What's the philosophy here?
I got to be honest, if there's any team that can adapt on the fly, you know, to a map they haven't played in a while, I'd say it's a Walco-led team, because he's very structured, very methodical in his approaches. Sometimes it takes more time to establish themselves, perhaps, on a map with that type of approach, but still, I feel like he can keep his team kind of structured under him, and especially considering that it's a very T-sided map, I'm assuming they're going to start T-side and just try to bull rush in and see if they can overpower Nouns, and what kind of test what Nouns brings to the table in terms of this CT side and their defensive end.
Well, we will be hopping in here in just a moment, hopefully. We're just waiting for the map to get underway. Players to tab, players to watch here. We did talk about OC in the first. He delivered solidly, but didn't need to step up necessarily because, well, his teammates certainly were. We had Walco popping off. We had Breeze being an absolute monster. And when that's happening from your riflers, there's just not a whole lot left over for you to do. Meanwhile, on the other side, look, there's going to be some focus on Junior, I think. We were bigging him up in the beginning. He was 8-2, and then he was 8-9 the next time we checked in, right? Like, it went wrong real quick for a guy who's supposed to be one of the firepower focal pieces for this team.
I think he only got 2 more frags after that as well, like in the entire of that second half. So that's just, it's not great. But going on to Anubis, you know, there is more room to op. I still wouldn't say that the op is a central focal point on this map, but definitely there's something for him to do, maybe peering out towards canals or working his way on that B site from CT. So we'll see how it goes for him. But yeah, they need a lot more from a player that tends to contribute significantly in terms of fragging output.
This is also going to be a fascinating thing to see from Nouns. We have no idea about their positions on this map. So keep an eye on who's playing where. Let's see. Let me call my shots. George is going to play A. We're going to have, because he's usually their small site anchor in most maps.
I'd say Carson mid, probably.
It's either, I feel like it's either Carson or CJ mid. It's probably Carson mid. Based
to get aggressive.
Yeah. And then you run the rest of the pack mostly on B with some shifts in towards mid from Junior on the op, presumably. Those are going to be my guesses. Call my
think you're
shots
right.
here. Let's see if I'm right.
It sounds right to me, honestly, because I agree with the Carson being mid just to try and get that aggression in their faces. And indeed, NRG is choosing to start on T side. So let's see. George is a solid anchor, very reliable in that role, but he's facing A right now, so maybe he's heading that direction.
There can also be differences in pistol round strats.
True.
We won't fully commit to it just yet. Okay,
Yes.
so it's Junior CJ in towards A initially. Carson alongside it, so maybe I'm wrong about that. George might be sitting over on B.
You did say it. It is just pistol round, so this could very much change.
George would make some sense as a cave player, though. I actually don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
Well, a little bit of contact there towards A, and Nouns say nope. We're going to fade off and go for mid control instead.
So,
look where Walco is. He got one. They didn't expect him.
The trade's instant, but now they know they're off of A. That's a nice read going to be from NRG. Walco playing one and then giving up his life, still well worth it for the information that they gain. Now the bomb's down. They've got this very deep hold from OC as well to confirm that there's nobody here. And he's holding a flashbang. So when the contact comes through, presumably his teammates call for it and OC lobs his flash to the window. This is a really nice setup. Here comes the flash. Did it catch? It did. X catches the kill off of it. Who we got? Ooh, back off. But there is no kid. It's just on a CJ, and you got to get cooking real quick, CJ.
Yeah.
No time for an elaborate recipe. This has got to be instant chili. And he's fumbling with the microwave buttons. He's fumbling with it.
It's over.
And the timer's going to run out. This pot's boiling over, and CJ's out of there.
Wow. All right, CJ. Great effort, you know, and a lot of bullets fired from those dualies he's carrying. Not necessarily by him, it was by George prior to that, but he just couldn't connect his shots. And Junior as well, carrying the dualies, was trying to charge in and clear out some bodies, but NRG tucked themselves in really nicely and forced Junior to try and dig them out, and he wasn't able to do that. In fact, by the time that the NRG players were dealt with to an extent in that position, there just weren't enough bodies left on the downside to go and get that defusal done and even find the last two players for NRG in time. So, NRG, nice little pistol round strat coming through there as they pick up their first, and now Nouns, I expect them to get aggressive. There we go, the typical Nouns coming through, forcing up 4 MP9s and the 5.7. George wants to pop out of B main, but he's got to wait for that Molotov to dissipate. OC tapping away as well. There's Carson connecting onto Automatic, who gets caught out, trying to make his way to join his teammates, or maybe just lurk out. Now Nouns are going to rotate themselves all the way back to A, which was left open. They're trying to close the gap. Great Molotov thrown in for connector. Carson trying to handle this by his lonesome. Sees the heads, but can't connect the shots just yet. Rush will help, and Carson does find OC. Breeze critical, finding 2. Walco gets a couple as well, and they hold the fort for now. Junior is very far away, spacing not in his favor. And he's just waiting for exits, I think, at this point. The round is probably done. Wow, what a hold from Breeze and Walco under pressure.
It's worth trying this, though. I don't think he's going to at this point. Now too much time has gone without the kit. Just the, the benefit of saving this MP9, not so ideal. Looking for exits to maybe make more money towards a future AWP, presumably. First. Second, not so much. That was a really nice read and react from NRG.
Yeah.
They get crunched on. I don't mind the idea for Nouns. I actually really like the idea. You've got minimal weaponry. You've got massive disadvantages. So why not go for a crunch on B main? You catch one player there, insta drop them, and then the rotation is immediate. And I actually thought for a moment that the NRG utility might have been a tick too late, right? And you could kind of see it for NRG. They had the read instantly, but again, they just don't have the officials on this map, so it's not going to be as well drilled as some of the others. There's like an extra fraction of a second in processing time to get their lineups. That almost cost them because it did allow that mid-rotation to come in a way that they didn't expect, right? Carson catches them off guard with a 5.7, a couple kills go the other way, but the star power comes through. Breeze bails them out, as he did a bunch of times over in Inferno. He gets the kills that are necessary. So it's kind of, you could both see the good and you could see the bad for NRG there. The read and react, the idea, really good. The utility, really good. Tick too late. But they're good. They're fine. Now they've survived the force pie, and they can get a lot more comfortable here on Anubis.
Yeah, Breeze is just that pillar right now for NRG that delivers under those pressure situations. And like you said, they're okay. A little bit off there, but they recovered nicely. They get their second on the board. And now Nouns are stuck back to the pistol. It's going to be a Deagle, 3 P250s, and a USP. Walco charging in with the MAC-10 once more. Automatic has one as well. Walco doesn't really have anyone with him, in fact. He's just pushed right next to E-Box. Hasn't gone in just yet. What is the idea here? A is completely clear, and it's a B stack. Usually, NRG like to go slow and clear out the bomb sites here and make sure that their path is clear, poking and prodding to see which one might be available to them, and that's exactly what's going to happen here into A main. They throw a flashbang, looking around, is anyone home? No one is. Okay, let's keep going, and eventually they're going to find a free and clear site. I don't even know if Nouns are going to have a chance to readjust here. Great little execute there, perfect utility usage, bomb site clear, bomb planted, round over.
Good dry run. Good dry run.
Yep.
Something like throwing all your nades onto a site with no one on it.
Yeah, why not? Gotta
It
be
is
safe.
interesting that we've seen the early tendency for Nouns, or for NRG rather. We've had 3 of 3 rounds end on A. Not a big enough sample size to draw any conclusions just yet, but it was interesting. You know, Nouns going towards that B stack, and they pick wrong. Maybe hoping that NRG would throw the change of pitch there, trying to avoid the stack, but it's all good. Automatic making some extra money off of that MAC-10. One blemish on an otherwise perfect record, but again, the MAC-10 money more than makes up for it.
Yeah.
And NRG going to be very comfortable heading into this first big gun round.
Yeah, and I mean, OC Breeze can drop the AK for Walco. Maybe they might even just stick that MAC-10 on him. We'll see. No, Hex is going to be running the MAC-10. And they actually still have a couple of those.
They're going to go fast then.
Yeah.
That's what that tells us, right? Hex is usually lead of the pack on one of these entries. So you'd expect that they're maybe going to go for quick with it. And it looks like this is where they're going to go for the tendency breaker. This is where they're going to go for that first B play. And yeah, insta Molotovs in. Just to keep them from getting aggression in towards B main. I think the mollies are a little wonky on the minimap. I think that was just B main molly. And yeah, here they go around. Hex gets the entry. That's beautifully done. Damage onto the next. But George is going to punish him for not finishing that kill. Unfortunately, Breeze able to line things up. Bomb going to go down. Now with it ticking away, a retake is certainly possible here for Nouns.
Yeah.
But NRG, you're going to make them work for it. Breeze is wondering if there's an upgrade somewhere here.
Yeah, but I don't think he doesn't have time to think about it. He's got to get ready to engage, and he knows that at this point. He's just going to have to settle for the MAC-10 and say, this has got to be enough. Carson, incendiary in hand, going to toss it onto the site. Nouns are going for this one. They still got a couple of smokes as well. Carson flicks around, does take care of Breeze with that Mac. Automatic down to 36. Time ticking away on the bomb. That's a critical frag for OC to find. And the follow-up too. CJ gets one, but it is too little, too late. OC probably going to go down to the bomb here. Will he get away in time? Yes, actually, he does get away in time. So he's okay. Surviving with 30 HP, but a 4th round win from NRG.
Anubis is the only map in the pool that has a sympathetic bomb.
Yeah.
It's funny, the newest map has the kindest bomb radius.
Which is crazy, and the older map's got an updated bomb radius.
All good for it. All good for it. Nicely done from NRG. Again, some big moments. That one from OC, right? The individual just taking the initiative, recognizing that, okay, we're down, but I know this positioning. I need to get one of these kills before they're throwing all their utility out. Nicely done. He winds up getting 2. Obviously, that's better. We're just doing math, Junior. Okay, here we go. He's got the op.
It's a
goes
glass
for the
cannon.
repeak. Repeak is the problem. OC's got him, and you're right, glass cannon. That's majorly punished. It's just kind of the eco off. George is going to be able to get that away. So at least the big gun lives.
It does. But what will it mean here in the end for Nouns? Such a nice opener from Junior too. He just couldn't get the follow-up because of the lack of head armor and armor in general. Walco finds one onto Rush. That gives them the man advantage now. And look at, again, the space available to NRG on A is quite juicy. And they're going to be charging through, throwing that smoke out for Heaven, the Molotov for Connector. The flash is out. I mean, they're pretty much clear to walk in here. Breeze sees nothing. He's going to call over the reinforcements. In the meantime, Automatic lurking around Bridge finds the headshot onto CJ. Both players are pincered into the B site on Nouns, and I mean, taking the op out of their hands would be quite huge here, and they're going to be afforded the opportunity because Walco catches Carson stepping a bit too much forward here into E-Box. Walco Nade thrown, spots out the opper. George not used to using this. He still hits the shot onto Walco, but now his position known. NRG are going to pincer in from every single angle. He has to hit all the shots. And he won't. Automatic gets him on the flank. 5-0 for NRG.
You really couldn't ask for a better start if you're NRG.
No.
I mean, obviously. But the manner in which they're winning rounds as well. I mean, that round's much more limited, but there's still danger, right? The purchased up AWP gets that first kill. That could have been huge. The re-peek in, though, costly. You're wondering if they're starting to feel like they need to force it. There's nothing to fall back on. Gonna be the buy up here. Junior does manage to get the AWP around this as well, so I'll have the big green. OC on the other side, wielding that lethal boom cannon. Zoom banger. What's the move for Nouns? This is not a map where you can sit back on your haunches on CT side. No. Nouns a team that usually loves that CT aggression. It's going to be Carson in mid to try and take a swing. He's got a lot of players potentially headed his way, and so instead of smoke just comes down, albeit a smoke with a bit of a gap.
But again, now it's not really making life that difficult for NRG, who are kind of taking the space slowly but surely. A couple of smokes here on bridge will slow them down, but eventually should be able to move up. A defense, they're relying on CJ. Automatic pushing up. He's walking in the angle that Carson's holding. Carson could be huge here. There's the first and the second. Bomb dropped at his feet. Breeze finally cleans him out, but so much work done from Carson towards mid. It'll indicate two Nouns exactly where the bomb is going, where two players already are. Can they win the fights? Breeze, a big one, but takes so much damage that engagement down to 15 HP. They're trying to readjust themselves and guess right, but they guess absolutely wrong. Walking into Rush, who pops off for a 3K, and there's the first round for Nouns.
That was really nicely played. Rush and Carson. I mean, Rush is just waiting for an audio cue, right? Then peeks in, catches them both stacked up. But Carson, I guarantee there's going to be a flash for that position, or at least there should be a flash for that position every round from here on out. Much needed for Nouns. There's going to be money on NRG. That's not going to be an issue. So for Nouns, the biggest test now comes in this, but they had to get something going. A little bit of an individual outplay. Perhaps Carson probably outperformed with that position. Should get him by one, but it's still a repeatable process, and so they're going to like it. Oh, George is getting really frisky here, and he's fortunate there's no one to hear it. They've got so much room now, but it's just fast in towards me. That means for the moment, Rush is under so much pressure. He does manage to get the one, but they're so locked out. It's going to be a full-on retake, and they didn't even take the position from George all the way to get main pressure.
That's exactly what I was thinking. George should have gone all the way around. He was so deep. It ends up getting a frag anyway onto OC. That nade pop, courtesy of NRG, helping George. 4v3 in favor of Nouns, but they still got to get back onto the site, so I would say advantage still lies in NRG's hands. Util is very much available for Nouns. On the other side, not so much. They still have that one Molotov. If Walco stays alive, Automatic gets one, traded out, Breeze flashbanged, and cleaned out completely. Great retake from Nouns. They should have enough time. Yep, the kid is available. They are fine. Second round picked up.
Momentum now, 2 rounds in a row. We could see a similar story to Inferno, where, you know, there's pre and post type of situation. They finally get this one round through, and now life gets a lot easier. Still a bomb plant. Kind of curious for what NRG is going to do here. There's money on OC, Hero AK, but they could still keep everybody above 2K with some techies around it. That's going to be the logic. That's going to be the philosophy. So there's still danger in this round, but not a ton of it. Hex not even buying up armor behind this. A little surprising, perhaps. Let's see. Maybe he's got the op in the next round. That's the idea.
Yeah. Carson. Waiting at mid. He is playing the spot we predicted.
Sure.
That's where we thought he would be because he likes to get aggressive. Oh, nice nade. Go ahead.
Swap CJ and George, and I was spot on. Dang it.
Yeah. So close. But still.
Guess wrong. George does make a lot of sense, I think, as a cave player.
Yeah.
He's got a very good feel for those kind of positions. I mean, I don't really know because I don't have the sample size on cave necessarily, but he's got a really good feel for those kind of positions where he can sort of make the individual play based on timings to tip around.
Carson's going to have a great peek here. There we go. Walco erased from the map. And then Kosi actually gets the trade.
Right.
Breeze takes so much damage, though, down to 3 HP. I don't think that NRG has the hardware to go for extended engagements here, and that's the biggest problem. Yeah, George and CJ are going to get a couple back. Hex and Breeze, a bomb plant would be great, but they don't have it, unfortunately. It was dropped in that engagement towards mid. So they're going to have to fight back for it. Junior hits the shot, pulls out the pistol, and actually gets pistoled himself by Hex. Hex is trying to pick up the rifle, or maybe just going for a tap. There we go, gets the op. 34 seconds left, and he's just going to throw it away. You cheeky, cheeky boy. He gets rid of that op.
I think George saw it go through the window.
He has a chance here. He has a chance.
Oh, boy, couldn't get it out in time, but he was cooking. Did George see it? Did it go through? Did it go over?
No, it didn't. It was a perfect throw.
In the water. It's right on the window.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I thought that might have tipped out the other side. But, yeah, I mean, look, great damage done, considering the circumstances. An unarmored Tech 9. And,
I mean...
that's going to be a little bit of an interesting one.
I feel like if he swings the Tech 9, he has a better chance at that mid fight, honestly. I think that he was feeling the rhythm, and sometimes when you're in that flow state with a pistol, it's often better just to stick with it, and you see a lot of players decide to do that under certain circumstances, but I mean, the AK was just too tempting, so he picks it up off the ground, and it doesn't yield the frag he's hoping for, but still, he made it much more interesting than it probably should have been. As a timeout's going to be called by Nouns, probably to talk that over and say, hey guys, why did we end up with only 2 players out of that round?
It's set up a nice situation here where you've made Nouns brittle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They've done the work. It's like when you've heated metal. Now NRG just need to push this door off its hinges. But do they have the force, John? Do they have the force?
I would argue yes. It's just that they haven't played much Anubis lately, so that's the only thing that's maybe on my mind right now.
Yeah. So much of this is just unknowns, right? So much of the early success was straight A takes. Successful A takes. Oh, his mitts are spotted.
Nice.
Damage. Breeze is lost, but yeah, that is going to be the kill in towards mid, and so that's huge pressure on towards A. So they're going back to what worked and catching one player off the B main aggression. Did tip them off a little bit.
Oh my God, George.
Here
George.
comes. What do you do, CJ? What do you got for us, CJ? You got one. Better than perhaps could be expected, but the bomb's going to go down. There are not 2 automatics on the server right now, folks. We have had a DC, unfortunately.
Yeah, there were
That
2
means it is
Georges.
just George.
That's why. I think that DC had something crossed up the minimap a little bit. I believe we'll be okay into the next round. Looks like everyone's back into the server, but, well, it is going to be NRG taking a 6 there. Nice little push and execute onto the A site. CJ was the one trying to defend there over on that A site and did get one, but it was only one. Quickly overloaded, and NRG just looked pretty solid, honestly. I was questioning it right before this round. Can they continue it? Do they have that force? But it appears to be an emphatic yes.
I mean, it's going back to the site that worked, right?
Yeah.
This time, a bit of a different look, a full site split. Catching the kill on Carson, that's what they were looking for. That was the object of this round, was to punish Carson, and they succeeded. And once they did, they knew A had to be a little vulnerable. And the money's going to get weird now. We're going to have some time, presumably. Actually, it looks like somebody's already reconnected, so we should be good.
Yeah.
But this is now such a touch and go round for Nouns. All the money has been spent. So go these last few rounds if Nouns can't win here and now.
Yeah. This could be a commanding lead for NRG or a close half based on the results of this round. And George wants that close half, gets the opener onto Walco, so the IGL is gone. Takes a lot of damage in that engagement, going down to 21. So he's going to back off of this position. I don't think he wants to be aggressive anymore. Junior hits one at mid. They rotated the op there, and he connects onto automatic. Now he's jumping away, leaving it all up to Carson to defend, and he rotates himself to the A side. I love the adjustment from Nouns here.
Yeah, I like the idea as well from Junior to stick in towards A, right? That's been the vulnerability. That's been the pressure point. Why not try and anticipate the next hit? That's not what NRG is going to do, however, as NRG have made an adjustment of their own. Taking cave control for free. Double playered back towards CT. Carson seeing nothing down middle. Now this smoke comes in. When do they bail? Russia's got some vision. That molly misses, I believe. That was probably meant for Glyph, and I think it's a bit short. So it actually holds them off the bay. Junior catches another kill elsewhere, and it seems like this hold is going to be very strong indeed.
Good to see Junior finally connecting with that op. I'm sure Nouns are happy to see it as well. And there we go. I mean, 6-4 is a huge difference from 7-3, especially considering, like you mentioned, how much money Nouns had left in the bank at the end of their buy-up in the previous round. You're seeing NRG very, very disciplined buy here. They could have been a little more aggressive, honestly, but they just want to get a very strong buy into the last round. And hey, you know, they still have a couple players with body armor, decent pistols coming through, and a good chunk of util to work with. But this might be just a fast hit in towards the A site after waiting for the initial foray of utility from Nouns to dissipate.
Don't discount the wrath of the techies. See, OC's been given all of the utility. It is interesting to me how much of the nadage OC is responsible for on this team, considering he's the offer. Bit unusual, but he is going to set up all the util here.
They're in. They're in.
Missed the first. The molly, he's burning. CJ's pushed back. This is a bomb plant, all but guaranteed. There's a lot of util for the retake. And
oh my god.
Came through. So this retake should be viable, but things are going to get really messy. Coming back from these choke points against pistols. If there was another flash for this heaven peak, they'd be in a lot of trouble. Fortunately for them,
yeah,
they didn't get this far.
CJ's gonna spam on through. Rush connects with another one. It is a 5v3. NRG are still fighting away. Automatic finds an important one on Carson. They have 4 players just peeking around, jumping dualies, AK bullets flying in everywhere, and there we go. Nouns will secure the round, even though it got scary. Honestly, that was a phenomenal take by NRG.
There was even a jumping team kill, I think, from Rush.
Was that a team kill?
Yeah. I think he put down his teammate with a stray bullet. If I was reading the board correctly. Look, a good regain from Nouns. That got scary. They realized, oh my goodness, we've been caught off guard. Bail on the site entirely and let's just readjust. Which is probably a good concession to make, because if you lose even 1 kill there, life gets a lot more hazardous. Still, yeah, you're absolutely right for NRG. As soon as that first shot misses and they've got players in towards the site, it's just all over.
Yeah.
Good utility usage. That A, we're clearly seeing that A take is very well drilled. The rest of the map, we haven't necessarily seen the same consistency. Breeze, opener, that helps. Junior, gone. Goodbye. Oh, you just got out dueled.
Wow. Automatic moving in here. Nouns, automatic. Gotta get out of that Molotov. And then incendiary thrown afterwards. Great work from Nouns on the util to keep automatic at bay, but he waits patiently and Carson walks into his crosshair. Tried to pop flash himself out. It just doesn't pan out for him. Now George peeking out of B main. Rush will get one onto Breeze. They spotted out more NRG players. Yeah, this is a really good info play, but OC wins another fight against George, keeps the man advantage in NRG's favor, and they're just going to fully commit into this B site, because why not? Hex has a flank on Rush. If Rush comes around from pillar, Rush will get one. Hex has to activate soon, and Rush knows it. What awareness from him. Now he's made it a favorable situation for his team, but OC, a quick scope, connects, finds his second. Now CJ's flank will be critical in a 1v1, Mike.
OC could just leave.
He could.
Oh my god, he's gonna leave? He's going through the smoke in towards Temple, playing the fade on this. Just exit. But he's been caught. He's been caught. Now he knows it's a chase. And coming back around, trying to take a pot shot here. What a duel. Down to 21. A foot race on. CJ trying to beat him in towards A main, and OC not going to risk the double back at this point. No, he's got the timing on it with the Molotov at his back. Bomb going to be in. Now it's time to see if he can finish. Quick prayer sent up to the Skadoodle sticker on the gun. He's coming back, you know. Oh,
he is, which is crazy.
Just slipped the rotation. He just got all the util in the world, though. Molotov sets this up. Can't peek against that. Now he knows. Nade finishes it. OC can't get away from this. The nade will play. Nice use of the kit, CJ. And we're going to an even half. And we're back into the fun. 6-all reads the board as once again we've kind of had a little bit of a mirror of Inferno. Starting out very much one-sided. Nouns out to the 5-0. And NRG figuring their stuff out and showing that maybe, you know, Nouns the NRG, the initial read, sorry, switch those roles. But Nouns a little bit more depth. Perhaps. Still not to be proven. And Hex will prove that one man on a site is not always a great hold.
Yeah, that was a nice little take from Nouns. They just all filtered in from one angle towards that A site, not expected at all, and Hex has gone. I mean, we were talking about a little bit off during the break, and it just wasn't that great of a T side, all things considered, for NRG, because 6 rounds tied. I mean, that's actually excellent for the CTs on a map that leans pretty heavily T side. Walker's going to try and come in here and retake this site. CJ manages to get one, but OC connecting, and now it's Walco falling. Only Automatic left in a 1v1, though. The trades are coming through. Automatic probably going to run out of time. Yeah, he doesn't have time to get the defusal. Just hoping to find a frag and get an extra $300, but that's not going to happen either. Nouns are going to win the opener here in the second half.
Got a little sweaty. The old teammates are both going to go their separate ways. Little handshake there to survive. That's what you like to see. Did get a little sweaty, though. Certainly a nice chance for Nouns now to build to try and send us to a 3-map series. As it's Ancient waiting in the wings.
Interesting not to see Mirage come through at all from Nouns.
It was banned first rip, I want to say, by NRG. No, second.
No, second, yeah.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
But usually Nouns are picking into it, right? Instead, they decided to go here on Anubis.
It's actually really interesting vetoes all around.
Yeah.
NRG taking out Nuke first round. I'm so curious about this veto.
Me too.
I have questions.
Well, Automatic probably has questions too. As George headshots him on the go with the MAC-10. It's all done. Yeah, just USPs here. NRG only have Walco left standing. Nouns should get an easy 8th here unless Walco pulls off the craziest Counter-Strike play ever, and he will absolutely not do that. There we go. We move on. By the way, update, of course, for the other matches. Mythic eliminating Boss 2-0. And immediately after that, Mike, Pone alone has retired from competitive play. He's gone. He's hung up the mouse, yeah.
Really?
Yes.
This is fully confirmed.
Yes.
Man, NA's
straight from the horse's mouth.
33-year-old talent is hanging up the mouse. That's the end of an era.
It is. It is.
George, starting his own era in the canals. This is looking like a dominant first gun round of the second half. Now it's just shut down all of the aggression coming through from NRG. Players dead in mid, players dead in the canals. Now it's just a waiting game now for Hex and OC. They've split the sites. They've split the side of the map, and unless one of them comes up with 4, I don't know whether this one's getting viable. Hex trying to back away. Might even just be time to try and bail out into the save, and that seems to be the operative idea here.
Yeah. And I think my biggest concern on this map for Nouns was the CT side, because the T side definitely plays into their style of Counter-Strike. You know, that fast, frenetic pace, and you're already seeing it here. They're immediately taking the fights to NRG, and NRG just have no answer to it. But already getting 6 on that CT side was great. They set themselves up here on this T side. They get the pistol round victory, the follow-up, converting 2 more, and this is on the buy for NRG where they can't really do anything, so the money's building up for Nouns as they continue to separate themselves from the pack. All right, Hex, maybe something? No. Rush with a clinical shot to his dome. OC's around the corner here as well, and he will also be gone, so nothing saved over for NRG either. This is going from bad to worse.
It's the kind of map that can get away from them. Maybe time for that magic pause. Had it in the first. Helped sort out a lot of the issues. The question's just, as always, for both these teams, on this map in particular, is, you know, on Inferno, obviously they took a pause and go, this isn't how we want to play. We don't actually know if that's the case here. We don't actually really know how they want to play, or if they really know if they're comfortable. How much more depth is there?
Well, so far, feels like Nouns punished right by going to Anubis.
So far.
Doesn't always work out that way, but we're not done yet.
Still see us to play. But it's an encouraging thing for Nouns' map pool as well, if they can really make Anubis a stronghold.
Yes.
That would be a much welcome addition to their depth. Carson's taking space in towards mid. Automatic staring his knees. They're shaking. Playing anti-flash, presumably for his teammates. It's going to be a dry peek on through, and OC will catch. Cobra strike out of that Deagle, and while there are more Deagles here, Junior so far able to deal with them. And the next defaulter as well is Hexed. Everybody turned into a bit of a graveyard here as they're all trying to get them caught in Breeze's flank, but unfortunately for Breeze, his teammates couldn't quite have anything to say about that. Breeze at this point just wants to get away with the AK.
Yeah, he's just going to try and escape, you'd think. You'd think. I think he's just playing for exits, right?
I don't know. He's cooking. He's cooking. No, he's trying to get to a different position to save this. Because he realized based on the engagement there, there'd probably be someone pushing out A main trying to catch him. It's a savvy play to try and save the gun. So just offset the expectations, move a slightly different direction. Maybe that lets you save. Savvy play from Breeze here. Still, since the half, 4 rounds off the rip for Nouns. They are just a stone's throw away from ancient. It very much does feel like a rinse repeat of what we caught on Inferno, doesn't it, John?
Yeah, it does. It really does. With Nouns being on the other end of it this time. Not giving up a single round to NRG so far in this second half. Now NRG, arguably their last chance to get back to this one. Full on buy coming through. Breeze has a lot of money. 4.1k. He's got the AK saved over. That's part of the reason why. And the M4, the AWP, and the 2 other M4s are the buy-up for NRG. They got 3 players on the B site in the early goings here. 1 at mid and 1 anchoring down A. That is Hexed. Nade sails through. George takes a little bit of damage, and, well, he's just going to go for a fight. So is CJ. CJ's down to 6 HP, but he wins it against Walco. They're just going to try and storm themselves in and strong-arm this B site. Rush doesn't get anything. Breeze immediately deletes him, then swings around for a follow-up. Breeze trying to carry the team on his back, but eventually runs out of gas. And Hex and Automatic are just going to spam this smoke and hope they connect on something, but they don't have much money, and I think they're just going to try and save these guns to the next round because they know they've lost the site.
Unfortunate one. I mean, they were locked out by that choke point smoke. Seems like they're going to give this another look, though. They're not ready to surrender just yet.
Just a look, though, for sure.
Well, you say for sure.
I don't
say for sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, look at the money. Look at the situation. You won't have anything the next round.
They're out. They're just trying to get a little bit of exits. They are going to back away. If they'd found an easy kill there, maybe that lights their way back in towards the site. But you're right, John. They're outie. And I ain't seeing a sports car.
Look, with these 2 saved rifles, with Breeze having 4.7k, now 8.1, that's actually a buy-up that's going to come through instead of what could have been like maybe a few pistols and a couple of rifles dropped by Breeze. So Breeze, 2 M4s should come through. No, he goes for the op instead for OC. I don't mind that at all. OC's pretty strong with that op, and he still has enough to get himself a FAMAS. So that's actually a phenomenal buy-up thanks to Breeze and the 2 saved guns. So here we go. NRG resetting it, hoping that it works out. And let's not forget, Breeze had a beautiful 3K on Inferno from Boiler with the FAMAS. Walco moving out here. Molotov sails right at his feet, but he still manages to make his way to E-Box. OC along with his teammate. We're having a look towards mid. OC, misses a shot that looked like it was on, but it just doesn't connect. Carson probably thankful that he's still alive here. And he's going to toss some util on forward. Molotov to try and keep make life difficult for NRG here. Incendiary thrown in turn, and they just go back and forth, kind of changing places here at mid. As it stands, Automatic's just giving up all the space, and CJ in the meantime is flashing his way potentially into the A site. So a lot of chaos being stirred by Nouns right now, leaving NRG guessing. Walco, smoke out, peeking around the corner, looking for some information to throw it. Instead throws it towards B main. Peers out of E box. Molotov's gonna make life very difficult for him. He goes out into the fight, and actually they win it.
Double stack up setup, but it tells me that the presence in here is actually quite light, and
Yeah.
that's something that Nouns are gonna know. They pounce immediately, and Carson pounces to great effect. Now trouble on for this retake. Hex feeling like he's got to go for Carson, ready for the fight. Elbows enough to take him out of play, and in a 2-on-2, this might just be NRG's best chance of the half.
You gotta go. You gotta try it at this point. I mean, you're down 11-6. This is a very good opportunity. Like you said, Mike, Flashbang's still available. You've both got kits. Take the fights. Try and win them. Junior's tucked in. Rush has given them nothing either. They just played this so well on the Nouns side that NRG doesn't have any other choice than to try and stick to the Fusel. And Junior pops out at the perfect time to get both right in the dome. 12-6 in favor of Nouns.
Now, it won't quite be the 10 in a row if they manage to close here.
No, but
that
still.
NRG brought in the first. It'll be 9 in a row, John. But it'll also be 12 of the last 13, if I'm not mistaken. Or rather, sorry, 13 of the last 14. That's how math would work.
If they win this one, yes.
Yeah, if they win this one final round. So still an incredibly streaky show from Nouns, but once they found themselves on this map, they were nigh on impossible to stop.
Junior. Oh, around. They're putting a lot of pressure on, and Junior's actually deleted. Rush the immediate trade, but they're all swarming around Nouns. Rush is desperately fighting for his life and connects onto Automatic. Keeps the numbers even. I think the pressure's still on from Walco. It is, and he's got the bomb right next to him. He doesn't know it just yet, but it is up there. Won't find it. So the bomb is still safe in Nouns' hands. They'll be able to recover it. I think they're still wary of Walco being up there, but eventually they're going to poke around and realize, okay, we can recover the bomb and go for something here. Look at where CJ is, though. He is so far up. He's managed to lurk his way all throughout that A site and into CT spawn. Now that spot becomes even more potent because George spotted Hex lurking around towards Bridge, and OC actually comes around himself on a flank to get George. So this is getting absolutely wild and crazy. CJ's still an important prong if Rush stays alive. That's the important part here.
If indeed. Clearing out these positions now by a shrink back. They actually avoid the worst of it. Walco was wondering what's coming. He was kind of vaguely prepared, but still didn't save him from the wrath of CJ Dicking. Falls to OC now, and CJ's bringing him the fight. CJ's getting on the line, and that's the first found, but does he expect Rush to be tight in here? No, not at all. One bullet will seal it. Nouns 13-6, a repetition in reverse of what we had on Inferno.
That's wild to me, honestly. It's crazy that we got the exact same thing happening here on Ancient. It's on Ancient. On Anubis. We're going to get Ancient soon. I don't know if we'll get the same story. Hopefully not. I'm hoping for a closer second half from one of these teams to come out. But yeah, now it's just dominating on their T side, looking absolutely clinical, taking advantage of their strengths in terms of getting aggressive. And then NRG tried to get aggressive, tried to get into their faces, but Nouns are even ready for that. And then CJ coming in on that flank. Just beautiful stuff throughout the entire T side for Nouns. And we go to Ancient to see what is going to happen. I would argue that Nouns have the advantage going here as well.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Both these teams have played a ton of it. I kind of like this as a decider just because it does feel like a bit of neutral territory, right? I mean, Anubis was like the big glaring question mark, and Inferno was a map where NRG kept getting the best of this Nouns roster. So now going to Ancient, I don't know, man. I don't know how I read this. It's going to be spicy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fierce. And based on what we've seen so far, as we've learned, the two halves may look very, very different indeed. It's time to find out what it's going to be, John. it's time to find out what it's going to be. Which one of these teams is going to move on to the upper bracket? Which one of these teams is going to be knocked down early? These are two squads that could be contenders for the title here, and one of them is going to be knocked down to the lower bracket in just one more map. Time to find out who that's going to be when we come back from this break. Time to burn some midnight oil here, folks. As the clock has struck 12, we are in the witching hour, and here's where results get weird and things get strange and spooky. And we've already had a little bit of that because we've had two 13-6s that were very much mirrors of one another, with each team playing their role. Now we go to Ancient, John.
We do. And I mean, look, both teams are pretty good on this map. If you look over at NRG over the last 3 months, 7-3. Plus 44 round differential, and on the Nouns side it is 9-5 with a plus 32 round differential. The reason why I lean more towards Nouns, Mike, and what I was saying before we went to break, is because Nouns, I think both times against NRG, reverse swept them after losing the opening map of Inferno. So I just feel like that trend is coming through again. Nouns are a team that's hard to keep down, and once they get a little bit of rhythm, once they get that second map in, they got energy pumped into them.
This is, though, the difference, right? Yeah. It's not a Mirage.
Yes.
It's the Ancient instead. So this is the change-up pitch that NRG have gone to. They've changed up what they're vetoing to in the end, saying, okay, we keep losing this damn Decider. Let's try Ancient instead. And this is a map where, you know, both of these teams have some strength on Ancient, have had some strength, and they've played a lot of it in the last 3 months. I think for both of them, it's their... Well, it's actually... the second, tied for first most played map from Nouns, and same for NRG is the second most played map. So this is not unfamiliar territory. Anubis was very much like,
yeah,
we don't know what we're going to get, and the question is going to be who actually has a playbook that's developed on it. Turned out that wasn't NRG. Ancient should be well-drilled territory for both these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if we look at the veto again, and you talked about a few surprises, Nuke being banned by NRG was also a little bit shocking because they actually let it slip through to be the deciding map the last time they played Nouns, and Nouns took care of business, winning 13-9, and that is another strong map for Nouns. So for Nouns, we were talking about their map pool expanding. If Anubis ends up being strong for them, then they have Mirage, Ancient, Nuke, and Anubis. So they have a fourth kind of bullet in their chamber available to them as they go up against future teams. But focusing on Ancient, both teams are very good on it. So I think we're going to get probably the closest affair, I would assume anyway, compared to those first two maps that ended up just tilting in favor of one team or the other.
Yeah, looking at this again, I'm still so curious about the Dust 2 ban from Nouns. Just wondering, I mean, obviously they're uncomfortable on the map, but with the history that there was on Inferno, it's just an interesting one. An interesting decision for sure. One that we'll see if it bears repeating in other vetoes in the future. But yeah, we don't need to worry about that now. That was for the pregame, John. Now it's all about Ancient and what's actually going to happen here, hopefully in just a few moments. Who's your player to watch on this map?
Oof. I mean, for which team, right? Or just in general?
Whoever you want, John. Free ball it. Let them know. Let it hang.
Well, I mean, I would say probably Carson for Nouns because he ends up being that player towards mid, which mid control is super important in Ancient, of course. It's a lot like Mirage. And he's that player that loves to push both Mirage and Ancient, going for those early fights. And oftentimes he sets the flow of play on that CT side for his squad. And even on T side, he's going for openers, sometimes into B, but also into that mid side. So for me, it's definitely Carson. I think he'll be one to kind of show us where this match is going to go.
We'll find out. We'll find out where this match is going to go. And perhaps Carson will indeed show us the way. But
yes,
he's not going to show us the way just yet, apparently. Over on the other side of things, I think I'd like to see a little more from Hexed. I think Hexed had some really nice moments on Inferno. I do love me some Hexed, but we haven't gotten it quite as much consistently through the series. And I'd like to see it here on Ancient. I think he can be kind of an antidote to a lot of what Carson likes to do. But apparently we're going to have to wait just a little bit longer on this one because they are not quite ready to hop on in. So we're going to take a quick short break here, folks. And when we come back, hopefully we'll be in the server. time to go. We faked you out the last time.
Yeah.
Just had to keep you on your toes. Keep us on our toes, too. Everyone's on their toes. That's where you want to be after the hour of midnight. On your toes. Junior, gonna be on his. But maybe he needs a little bit more toe action.
Oh my goodness.
Here, though, and Walker just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Just killing everybody. This guy's a Terminator, John.
He's running them through, but they're going to get the response here. George going to get one with the dualies, and Carson with the USP. Automatic and Hex actually didn't make their way into the B site, but they realized, hey, the last two are at B. Let's full-on rotate to A, and that's exactly where Hex is going to ferry the bomb. Free plant coming through. Nouns realizing that they've gone over to the other site, so they're rotating themselves. They've got some body armor on George. Carson has the kits, so that affords them a little more time to plan this out and go for the retake. What they're deciding on is Donut. Both players charging on through an energy are just trying to buy as much time as possible. They're hoping that the 10-second defuse is on the cards, but there is that kit available, and Carson's going to stick it. It's not a bad plan. Will he get it off? He absolutely will. Nouns win the round, and Carson even gets another frag onto Hex. He eventually falls to automatic, but still, they didn't realize the kit was in play at all.
That's a beautiful play from Carson. I thought it was a brilliant maneuver from NRG, right? Automatic maneuvers his way all the way through mid. He knows he's got all that control. He knows he's got all those rotations. And so Hex just comes to join him. But the savviness from Nouns to not take the bait, to recognize, hey, why was he so confident bailing out? Okay, there might be a player CT. We've got to rotate through Donut. That's a great read. That's great situational awareness. And obviously a ballsy play to just stick the defuse. But Carson correctly reading that they wouldn't expect the kit. Nicely done. Impressive all around there for Nouns.
Nice nade as well. Energy to get the bomb plant, so they're going to buy up here. But George farming away with the MP9, gets a couple. And he's going to fall back into K. Oh, Rush gets deleted by OC's Deagle, and that should afford them the space and the time to get the bomb planted here. We'll see if Nouns try to challenge in forward. They pop the smoke, and Rush, along with Junior, combined for one. Automatic and Walko get two on back, though, and they've evened out the numbers. Will they fall off the site? Yeah, they're going to fall off the site and go A again.
It's the same thing, but this
Junior's reading it.
Walko's got a smoke, though. Here's the thing, even if he goes in towards CT, there's going to be a smoke down, presumably, for this. Yep, indeedy. So bomb's going to be planted. This time it's a post plant. This time there's a rifle in the hands of automatic. And they're not going to make the same mistake. They're going to hold on towards Donut. So it's a different approach this time for Junior as well. Into the temple. I don't think he realized Walko got past him to big box. This may not be an expected position. Oh, footsteps. Footsteps, that's a tip-off. Walko wanted to clear. And now Walko down for the count. It all falls to automatic. Oh, he doesn't think he has the lineup. He did. He did. One more bullet. One more bullet. Yeah.
Ah, what?
No. How on earth have they gotten away with this? How on earth does that work out for CJ?
I mean, these first two defuses for Nouns have been so spicy, and yeah, I thought one of those USP bullets was going to hit. I mean, it just barely grazed the wall, I guess, and didn't go through. CJ hanging on to life. Only one bullet was what it was going to take, and he survives. Gets the defusal. NRG, another bomb plant, another force buy coming through because they've eliminated Nouns every single round. So they're hoping that one of these are going to work out for them. In fact, I'd argue their buy-up is perhaps a little bit better. George charging out. Nouns getting aggressive, as they usually do here on Ancient. The hit's going to go to the A side. This is a full-on execute by Energy. Great flashbang. CJ tucked into cover. He's got the support of Junior, and Junior actually drops two. He goes down to 12 HP, but CJ is now supporting him. Both players very low, but they've done an exceptional amount of damage to NRG. Walko and OC do gain the space, and OC's into Temple, but how much can he possibly do? Junior and Rush are waiting on the other side. Maybe he catches them with util in their hands. They don't expect this push to be coming through. Now Rush looking for it, and no, doesn't catch anyone off guard. Tons of damage done again to Rush, but it's just Walko and not even a bomb plant yet, Mike.
No, yeah, that might have been an overplay of the situation. They knew they needed more if they were going to win the round, and well, they're not even going to get the bomb down this time. Carson shuts that one down. Now it's off to the races early. And it's going to be NRG thinking about their mistakes, thinking about their blunders, because this one's going to be an eco. shouldn't be too much behind it. I guess they can get a little juice going. A little deco action. What's the read on the deco? Any util for this? Couple flashes, 1 smoke, 2 smokes. Now they sold the flashes. Nope, they just traded them around. Here it goes.
That was good. Carson already pushed up there, and there it is. On to automatic. He's got such a great grasp of how to control mid here. He's boosted up into lane, throws a smoke so that Z is blocked off again, that connector into mid, and George takes the head off of Hex. A deletion, and another one onto OC. George and Junior pushing up aggressively. They've even got support coming in from lane, and this round is already over. The techs, the pistols, do nothing.
So no juice in this one. Certainly not worth the squeeze. Oh, hold on. Second dink. Nah.
No. There's no way.
No.
They don't even have the
chance.
chase. They're stacked. Only nouns, man. Only nouns. Stacked on top of each other there towards double doors. It is the right play. Just looks funny when you see it. 4-0 in favor of nouns, and NRG are back on the buy-up here with 4 AKs and the AWP. Let's hope for their sake they can find something, because nouns are really starting to find that rhythm. And when they get off to those strong starts, we've talked about it before, usually they can carry it to the finish line. The exception is Inferno, and we already saw what happened there with NRG recovering and then taking control of the map. Oh, nade pop. Carson gets the opener again, onto automatic, then he jumps up to lane, spamming down OC solo that George isn't able to do it, but now the frag's coming back in the other direction. Carson still standing, finds himself a second. Hext and Breeze, throughout all this chaos, are trapped, they're hemmed in. Junior gets one, Carson the last, Carson with a 3-piece, and it's 5-0 for nouns.
Annihilation on this B main presence, just the constrictor comes on in, and the mouse of NRG loses life. Oof. Now it's looking like the Apex Predators so far on this map. And NRG really haven't had any answers. I mean, one thing to note as well, Breeze has been kind of the engine to propel them through so many rounds. Hasn't really been able to get stuck into this one just yet. Still early days, but he was the difference maker on Inferno. And even on Anubis, a big piece in some of their successful rounds. So keep an eye on that. If he's run out of gas, that could spell a lot of trouble for NRG. Breeze puts Hex down, so he's finally got a kill. Not the one he was hoping.
Yeah, well, Rush gets an easy 2K, automatic, dropping Junior, so that's something, but he's alone again. Well, I shouldn't say again. NRG only have 1 player left alone again, because automatic went down quickly in the previous 2, and George ends his misery. 6-0 in favor of nouns. Finally, NRG are going to be back on the buy-up here, but that yielded nothing a couple of rounds ago due to the aggression towards mid that nouns love to employ, and Carson just so effective at it. He's already up to 8 frags, George ahead of him with 9, and they've actually been combining their efforts towards that B site a few times to thwart off an NRG push. We go in. Molotovs toss forward. Nouns pushing up. Junior this time with the op. Wants to be the tip of the spear, but he's backed off. Good utility usage by NRG. The flash is coming through, but Junior connects onto Breeze after Hex gets the opener on Rush. Throws a flashbang afterwards, and looks like Carson's in a different spot. Yeah, he's leaned in more towards the back of mid and now rotating to B. They decided to back off a little bit on that aggression.
First time we've kind of seen now slowed up.
Yeah.
But there's still a long road to go towards actually doing anything about this round from NRG. And look at the limitations of the utility. They don't have a smoke. They don't have a single smoke. That's, it's not really ideal. I'll tell you one thing. It means they're not going A. You can't, really can't, okay, without smokes. And now the counter molly just slowed them down from what they were going to do. Apparently there was 1 smoke salvaged somewhere here, but it's already been deployed. They're trying to pressure on towards Carson by fighting into this K presence. He's actually bottlenecked them. And now NRG have nothing. They got very little to show for that execute.
Yeah.
And now they have exactly zip 0 zilch as their smoke clears.
Yeah, just that lone flashbang. This is going to make it so hard. And 20 seconds left on the clock. They might just run out of time. Good wall bang there onto Carson. But again, they have no map control. They've got to go into this B site. They are going to charge in. Yep.
With the man advantage, they can't let this opportunity slip. And
8 seconds.
It's working, John.
7 seconds. 6 seconds. They got to stick the plant. It is sort of working. And now it's definitely working. CJ managed to catch OC trying to creep out from the bottom of ramp. Pop flash thrown for himself. That was so close for NRG to not even being a bomb plant in the round. But they just funnel out a cave and it works.
How is this the round? How is this the round? Know. Where they stalled out so hard where it feels like it's finally going to come through. CJ, though, still going to take his shot at it. Oh, he's got a spot on the first. Need to put some pressure on for Hags. Someone's got to swing. But they're not. Automatic's going to check it. Automatic. Down for the count. CJ, though, knows he's not got the time. And he's going to be dead to this bomb for sure. Yeah. They're both going. No survival here. Desperation to bail out. But it is finally NRG on the board somehow. And a round they completely stalled where it looked like they had no road in, where it looked like they didn't even want to go in. I'm not sure that they would have till Automatic got that spam kill.
Honestly, yeah, it was really, really slow for NRG, and you can see the hesitation, the lack of confidence right now in their play just because of how in-your-face Nouns has been in terms of their CT side play. And looking at the economy Nouns, they still are able to get a full-on buy-up. Junior still has 3K, Carson at 6.5. Their economy is so healthy versus NRG, who lost every single player, just as Nouns did, but it's more painful for them. They have 4 Galeals now and only a lone AK just to make sure that utility comes through. There's Carson back to mid. Only gets one this time. That's an excellent trade coming through from Breeze, and Walco was pressuring from lane as well. Now Rush backing off, thought about pushing out of Jaguar, decides against it, goes for a little bit of spam, not really connecting on anything. Walco's just to the right of the spam he's trying to employ here. Oh, should be able to get this. No! Hexed actually wins that duel, even though it felt like George might have had an advantage. Maybe the high ground coming into play there. Rush wants to try and re-aggress here. He's hoping that NRG won't expect it, but look at them. They're posted up. They're waiting for exactly this to happen. He's probably dead to rights, and he is. He hits a couple of shots onto Hex, but it doesn't really matter. 4v2 now, and it looks like NRG might have finally found a little bit of rhythm.
Is this our magic sea change moment in the half, where we somehow wind up 6-6? It's been the story of the series so far. If it happens once again, we're just getting predicted. Respotted, though. That's a nice play from CJ. It ain't done. It ain't done. CJ knows where it's coming now, and he's going to try and shut this whole play down. They're already past the lip. They're already past the choke, so he's under pressure. Smoke on. Molly missing. How much do you want to risk on this retake? There's actually not all that much money to spare. Carson's got some dosh, but there will be issues if they lose both guns.
I was going to say, like, oh, CJ, he poked his head out there. He was thinking about it, but then he realized, hey, Junior's not really that close, and Junior wants to make sure this op gets figured out. You're absolutely right. I mean, saving these 2 guns means a full buy for Nouns in next round. If you don't, then it's a little tougher. I think they can still justify a purchase because there is going to be a little bit of loss bonus going into Carson and Junior's bank account after this, but the save makes it far more comfortable, and still, you have a 6-2 lead on your CT side. Hex, Walco, and OC happy that this one was a little cleaner, so they can build up a little bit of economy for themselves, and they get 2 in a row.
That they do. That they do. A little bit of cash to spare. The momentum swinger. It's been the story of this series, really. Still, there is money to spare for Nouns. They can shut it down here and now. Curious to see what they go for, what they double down on. I almost feel like you might get massive mid aggression coming in. 2 players down mid early on. Okay, let's see what kind of util double Molly in. Yes, this is what we're seeing. Carson on the line, though, doesn't work out. Molly in the cubby was too strong. Automatic strikes first.
Yeah. I mean, if NRG can continue to do that towards mid, they'll have a ton more success in the latter part of this first half. Getting rid of Carson is a huge boon. Now they're going to pincer to the B site. This is actually really effective from them, unless CJ catches automatic off. Wildco's now stranded here. Does CJ expect a second? No, he does not. He turns his back to the play, but he has the smoke that covers his retreat for now. Wildco, oh my goodness, he can punch so much here. Yeah, there's the first. Now they know he's there, but they've got so much to worry about up front. They have to find these frags, and Rush is going to deliver a couple before OC overloads him. George down to 15, but he's still fighting away. Drops OC. Wildco, the last one, standing here as the nade sails on through, but won't connect for any damage. The good news for Nouns, they have the bomb. The bad news, George is stuck here on site. Junior protecting him, though. He is his guardian angel, and Nouns win a 7th.
A little bit of miscommunication there, it looked like. I'm not sure what OC thought of the position of that last player. There seemed to be a little bit of concern. It looked like he was glancing around towards long when there was a player. I mean, he was dueling through the smoke. But, to be fair, there was a silencer on the CT gun, so maybe that got relayed incorrectly. Either way, it certainly did cost them. Nouns on towards 7 now. Back to the broken buys out for NRG. Finally gonna have something other than a 6-all first half.
Yes.
Been guaranteed, John.
It has been.
The math checks out.
Maybe we'll get a 7-5, though. I mean, NRG winning 2 of the last 3, even though that one really did tilt into Nouns' favor towards the end. There's still only 2 players surviving. And George was very low on HP. Luckily for him, Junior was watching. Now Carson peeking out into mid. He didn't go for that aggression, as you'll notice this time. And NRG were wondering, where is he? What is he doing? And he peeks out at the perfect time. Rush coming out of Jaguar gets 1 and is traded immediately. That's still pretty effective, and they overlook mid. CJ finds one onto Hex. Not the follow-up, though, so they keep getting the trade to keep it close. But now they're down to only 2. Automatic makes it even with that frag onto Ain. That's so much space given. Excuse me, gained.
Did he even the audio cue in this? Oh, I don't know if they're going to expect Junior. OC just misses getting caught in a good scope. No, not at all. That's the bomb now down. And Automatic was trying to do some cheeky things with the positioning, but now he has to come back to this. And George's peak of the window could be deadly, but he's playing it so safe. And in doing so, it's all about the timing, which will work in his favor. Automatic shutdown. So much work, so much positioning. Thought he had opened up the round, only to see it dashed by Junior's cheeky play through the elbow.
Wow, yeah, you gotta call a timeout now because things are quickly slipping right through your fingers here on map number 3 if you're NRG. The good news for both teams is that whoever loses isn't out. You know, you got good enough seeding coming into this playoffs that you are guaranteed to at least have a couple of BO3s for yourselves. So should NRG be dropped down to the lower bracket, they'll have a matchup maybe with Mythic. I'm not sure where they're going to end up, but yeah. I mean, Mythic has just looked very good in multiple tournaments and qualifiers that they've played so far this year. And I think that they very much could be that dark horse that comes through and makes things interesting in that lower bracket. That being said, this one's not over. It just feels like momentum-wise, Nouns has finally really gained a stranglehold here in this series.
I like your Mythic faith, John.
Oh.
I like you get. I'm just saying, I saw Flom with the t-shirt cannon this weekend, and I'm gonna need to see some more before I'm believing. Carson hit a nice opener here. They look for 9. And it seems like 9 might just be on the way. Junior wants to make it sooner rather than later, and I'm now confident. 9 is on the way, unless OC makes some magic happen. It will not. No magic. No happening. Can they find double digits in the first half? That's now the question we must answer.
Yeah. I mean, that round was a non-starter for NRG. Here they come. Last chance at picking up a 3rd round in this first half. 3 AKs, the Galil and the AWP. OC has been worryingly silent here. He was our player to watch coming into this series, but hasn't had the impact that we know he kind of needs to on this NRG squad. It was mostly Breeze up to this point, but since Breeze has fallen quiet. Only one frag here in the first half. No one else has really stepped in to fill that void. Hex and Walco engaging here, but Hex takes the worst of it, down to 13 HP, and I think Rush wants to B. He's going to come out here. Carson gets the opener. Junior gets his head taken clean off by Walco onto B, but George returns the favor in kind, and Carson, well, you can't stop him from pushing up. OC eventually drops one on back towards Nouns, but it's a 3v2. That man advantage is something that Nouns have consistently had here on this CT side. At least Breeze evens out the numbers for only his second kill of this half, but both players are very far apart, and the bomb could still get caught out in transition here.
Oh. All right. OC's going to double back. OC's going to double back, assuming that Carson's trying to cut this off, knowing that Breeze has now commanded so much presence. This is actually a mega read. Carson was trying to catch OC exactly the same way that Junior had in the last, or 2 times ago.
Carson can get Breeze. Oh!
And Breeze has got it all the way. He waited till late in this half to have impact, but Breeze is felt as we head into the break. He had 1 kill go. Back for the second half of play here on the final map of this matchup between NRG and Nouns. The hour is late, and the game may be late for NRG. They need something. Breeze gave them finally a little bit of life in that final round, but they're going to need a little bit more impact from the stars if it's to align here on NRG.
Yeah. It's not the best of first halves, but at the very least, like you said, you know, Breeze woke up at the end of that one and then ended up with 3 of his 4. It's crazy how little he was able to have an impact on up to that point. But they keep Nouns off of double digits, at least for 1 round. Hext Waiting on the back lines here. He should be overloaded. I don't think he gets anything now. Rush finding the headshots there. Bomb is planted. Junior gets a follow-up. I mean, NRG are so spread out at this point. I don't really see a path back into this bomb site for them. Do they have the kit? They do. Automatic needed a quick one there. Walco actually does deliver on Junior, and they've managed to group themselves up a little bit. They have that smoke that's going to be tossed right onto the bomb site, in fact, for long B. So that'll isolate one position as they try to find the heads. They do! Oh my goodness! NRG! Clinical on the retake. Beautiful stuff. Thought they were out of it, but they should be able to get this one comfortably. And a 4th round pickup.
They even do it with the 10-second defuse. Why
Wow.
not? OC and Walco giving out haircuts there, assassinations from the USPs, and that was desperately needed. But it's just the first step. You'd imagine this is a force buy coming through from Nouns because of who they are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if Junior's buying up, then everyone is, because that's the one player you would expect not to if they want to save to get that AWP. So
George is keeping their Glock.
That's weird. That's very weird. No, he bought. He just bought really late.
That's odd in and of itself. But okay, here we're gonna go. They've spent a lot of their utility to go for this initial mid fight. To be fair, they can catch automatic. There's a pop of the mid smoke. That would be worth it because they want to get checked. It's gonna be tough to do this without smokes. Automatic stays alive for the moment. That's supposed to be straight it. They overwhelm the A player. The plant down's going to be tough. OC's making sure of that, and that's exactly the problem with playing with no smokes. A Molotov will give them the space to punch the numbers in, but OC is tired of their shenanigans. He's tired of this monkey business, and he has made it very viable for this retake to come through. But CJ's taking the initiative. Oh my goodness, they might not be ready for this. OC with the reload, they're not expecting this at all. CJ has moved all the way around and is waiting for Walco to get active. They've let OC slip. He peeks just right back in. CJ lining him up, knocking him down. Walco's just going to try and stick it, but this is desperation as much as anything else. And he knows it. We know it. Everyone knows it. It's a round for Nouns.
I mean, CJ's done such a good job in that lurky role that he likes to play, not only on this map, but on Anubis. As you recall, he ended up all the way in CT spawn in one round and was the key prong to winning that. And here again, comes in, man disadvantage, catches off one on the flank, and then the second player just couldn't recover either. He manages to make it so much easier. Walco, no choice but to stick to the fusel, and he easily gets tapped away to his death, as Nouns do indeed find double digits after losing the pistol round. Automatic trying to charge up here with the 5.7s. It's pretty much 5.7s across the board. George gets the opening headshot on Audi, and the A site's completely free and clear. NRG were gambling towards B, and I'm pretty sure that they won't even re-engage here if they lose this site. You see them poking a little bit towards bottom mid, but, I mean, the A site's already lost, and you won't have a buy-up in the next round, and it'll already be 11-4, so I think a save is very much the choice they need to make.
Yeah, you're just running out of chances. Gotta maximize what few you have remaining. So presumably this next one's just going to be another eco, saving around what they've got. Trying to stack another site and catch them off guard, which would mean they're playing for overtime. Or do they risk it all, having this armor already, get super frisky and go for a force-up?
Ooh, that's a tough choice. That is a very tough choice.
It's like, well, what would you like for dinner? Cyanide or arsenic?
Exactly. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, I say just, they're probably just going to stick with the pistols and see if that pans out. But they do have that loss bonus that should be okay. No, actually it didn't, because they won the pistol. So it resets them to that full, it resets them to 1400 instead of starting off with that 1900 by losing pistol. It's even worse for the CTs when you win pistol and lose the follow-up. Goodness me, this is not an enviable position that NRG are in.
Looks like they're going to work with what they got.
Yeah. I mean, what choice do you have? If you buy up here, you got nothing in the final round if you lose this. Oh my god.
Could have gone for the fabled 5 scouts. Just saying.
Could have.
The stacks coming towards, or the stacks rather, on the right side, at least for initial lead. Walko's position is going to be very vulnerable to Molotovs. Just trying to come and support him. Hex actually gets aggressive down the ramp. That works out.
Yeah.
Junior's not stuck here, and this is going to be Walko slipping away. So this is getting really quite interesting. 5-7's having great impact, and look at Breeze. Breeze has worked his way all the way out A main. They might not be ready for him in the elbow. Oh, no. He pops a shot, though.
That was...
And now they know. Are they not diligent about automatic? They're not diligent about automatic, but he can't land the shots, and...
I think,
well, there was a moment there, John.
There was. I think like the lack of, proper weaponry really hurt NRG a lot. In particular, I think the player playing on site with the USP, just nothing that could be done once the initial shots were missed. Hex and OC, I mean, Hex has something very much worth saving, considering their money is actually not that great, but oh man, he just throws it away. Going for a fight onto the site, Rush the deletion, and OC's only got that deagle. He hangs around too long, Rush takes care of that too, 3k for him, and Nouns, the biggest lead we've seen so far tonight, 12-4 in their favor, 8 opportunities to close out this series.
That's a tough one for NRG. I mean, you could tell they were desperate, right? A stench of desperation was wafting heavily off of this team, trying retakes that just tiny percentages to make it actually work. One more chance. One more try. No op. Not great util, no kits. They've never gotten a chance this second half. Did not afford themselves the possibility. And now Nouns are looking to put this one to rest.
Yeah.
3 players into the window peak. I mean, you have to do something weird. You have to do something unorthodox. It makes sense. Junior hears the footsteps, though. He doesn't have to go into this. The bomb is here.
I mean, I think they've heard a lot of presence outside of those B doors. So the adjustment here is the correct one from Nouns, sending 2 players into A main flashbang there. OC is the lone anchor on this A site. I think they want to draw rotations, but I mean, that mid presence is still very strong for NRG. Nouns, utility tossed in, smoke there for Red Room. Now the flashes are out, perfectly thrown, but they can't capitalize with a frag just yet. There they are, they flood on forward, but Hex gets 2 back on the other side. Rush and Junior were trying to re-aggress out those double doors, and again, we have a 2v2 on our hands. Advantage, I would say, to Nouns, because both NRG players are on islands, separated from each other. All these 2 guys have to do is grab that bomb and go to one site together. If the trade comes through, you have a 1v1. If they get a free frag, then it's a 2v1 and a man advantage. So you see here, Hex actually wisely backing off of the site and going for cover. They're going to play for the retake instead, so they keep the numbers even, but that means they yield the bomb plant, and I mean, post plants have been perfect so far for Nouns, Mike.
I was curious if Hex would risk the spam, but doesn't want to give the position away. He's coming into the fight. Carson just rips OC's head from his shoulders, so now Hex has nothing to play off of. CJ's got the exact right line. He knows where he is, and even with his life lost, it's a straight-up duel that Carson will win to send Nouns through here in the upper bracket, triumphant on Ancient. I mean, leaving no doubts about who is the superior team on the decider.
No, not at all. And I mean, I talked about Nouns being that team that was the reason why I had 85% confidence. They're that 15%, 85% confidence in M80 winning on my 1xbet prediction. They're that 15%, right? They're that team that I think could upset the apple cart and come out with a win in the grand finals. It's not there yet. It's just an opening round victory in this BO3, but it's the 3rd BO3 in a row against...
God, blown away. It felt like they ran out of steam, right? It felt like they ran out of fuel on that Ancient. I don't think that's a good representation of what NRG can do on that map, but whatever it is, the end result is the same. And now it's going to be very pleased about that one. 92.7, 47 to 80 yard. That can't be right, surely. Going 12 and 13, the math, that math can't check out. Can it?
I don't know, maybe. Let's go. I'm going to double check here.
That would be an astonishing ADR number. You know what? He was putting up good damage, actually. Top of the board on Ancient, serious ADR numbers, despite the fact that they were in a loss. So unfortunate that actually with an OC performance like that, the rest of the team just really couldn't come along with it. So
Yeah, it looks like it was accurate. Yeah, he had top ADR. I think he was at 88 ADR in that last round, or
That's
something like that. Yeah,
honestly astonishing to have that consistent of ADR in that severe of a losing affair. But either way, the end result is that Nouns move on in the upper bracket. They're very happy about that fact. And they are that dangerous team. They are that team that can potentially challenge things, that can potentially upset the apple cart. You're absolutely right about that. And things are looking good on multiple fronts. We've been watching this evolution of Nouns throughout the year. You know, since Adren really took over as that head coach, they've now brought Rush in. They're looking for a little more stability, a little bit more experience. And it's looking good, right? Obviously, things got away from them on Inferno, but by and large, the product that we're seeing, the fact that they're developing the map pool, that they're trying to go towards different things, that they're trying to add more depth in the map pool by bringing in Anubis, it's very exciting for what this Nouns team could become.
absolutely. I mean, I honestly couldn't agree more. And I think that that Rush addition was that final piece they really needed to kind of get that veteran foundation, that block, that one piece that kind of makes all the cogs fit together and start spinning in perfect coordination. It's great. I think that the only team that's really challenging Nouns right now is M80 because of how high of a level they've hit and the amount of experience they've gained at land play. So that's why, I mean, for me, I know it's still a long ways off, but I feel like that Nouns M80 matchup is going to happen, or at least has very high odds of coming through.
We'll see. We'll see if it does indeed. It would be an exciting one to watch. But for now, it's time for us to wrap up our broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night for more NAECL playoff action. For now, good night.